Hello and welcome to the very first episode of Rantzerker. I'm your host, I'm your facilitator, Allison Tiemann, and I'm here with Karen Strawn. And we may just be about to crash and burn in terms of the technical issues, because I don't know if you guys are going to be able to see us as we play Anita Sarkeesian's Women as Reward. And if you can't, we promise that we'll just go offline and drag this thing into our cave, the corpse of this thing into our cave, and then gnaw it into bite-sized chunks and rage all over it.
Yeah, you can hear me still?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay, so we are actually live, and we're live with our 30-second delay. I've muted that particular video so that it's not gonna like drive me freaking insane. But I should even be able to watch and see if the video shows up.
All right, okay. So this is the moment of truth. If they can see the video, then we're golden. But I see that I can just see my. Oh no, wait. Okay, all right. Okay, and if you can't, we will just close it off, and we'll just call this a learning experience, and we'll do it offline.
Can you pause it?
I can pause it. All right. Well, guys, did you
Still waiting for it to show up?
Yeah, that it's nothing yet. Okay.
Well, but
Oh, it looks like it's got silence. All right, so YouTube essentially probably has some copyright system. We'd have to actually set up a separate stream through something like XSplit to do this. So I think that we're going to have to take this offline.
God damn it.
Yeah, this is, and we got like 200, or actually, wait, you know what? You could maybe respond to it. Oh, I'm getting an echo. Wow, this is like totally. Yeah, I know. Ah, Jesus, it's YouTube. They won't let us stream Anita's video.
Hulk smash!
Oh, yeah, I know, and it already irked me like twice in the 30 seconds that we showed.
Yeah, no, I'm like, oh, even her theme music drives me fucking crazy. It annoys me. Everything annoys me. Her voice annoys me. Her face annoys me. Everything about her annoys me. And I really wanted to, yeah. Okay, screen sharing. Somebody said screen sharing it.
We can try screen sharing. Is anybody else having the echo in the chat? It might be. It might be my computer. All right. So. Oh, okay.
I've got a little bit of an echo. Like you sound like there's a little bit of a like almost like you're in a big room, but it doesn't sound like typical echo.
Okay. We'll get something here.
Okay. We're gonna pause and we're gonna try and figure it out.
Yeah. No. I'm gonna try the screen sharing.
Okay.
But my problem is I don't know if the sound is gonna come through.
Okay. Well,
one of us will even let me screen share.
One of us can take off our headphones, and then the sound will come through.
Yeah, but the thing is that it'll sound really crap, and also it's Google is apparently not letting me screen share for some random, unidentifiable reason.
Oh, probably because Anita like freaking made a big stink about Sargon and his gang doing it.
Did he?
I think that I don't know, but like. It should be, if it offers the ability to do this, right? But not with this video. It has to have been some setting that she put into place. So it may be that Sargon used a different
Yeah, no, he probably used it. He probably has much more technical expertise at hand. My problem is we probably could do this with XSplit, but unfortunately I don't think we can do it with Google Hangouts. And for some reason, my Google Hangouts are even less efficient than the typical Google Hangouts because I can't even do screen share. Like it's like
Nice.
right, and well, sometimes it allows me to do screen share, but today it's decided not.
Let me try. Okay, so
I don't think you can because you're not hosting.
No. It says Google Hangouts would like to share the content of your screen with plusgoogle.com.
Sure. Do it.
Okay, shoot me the link to oh wait. Oh, you bastard. Okay, new tab. Okay, share. Okay, can you see that?
I can see it.
Okay, how do I get rid of this fucking YouTube bullshit? Do I? Okay, there we go. So you can see it, but I can't. So you can see my new tab. Okay,
Yes,
so
I can see it.
Do you have the link handy for Anita's video?
I could probably get it in just a sec. Yeah, I know. I warned you guys in the chat that this probably is gonna crash and burn.
We're Luddites. I'm sorry, but
I'm not quite I wouldn't say I'm a Luddite, but yeah. Let's go with that.
Okay.
All right. Got you the link. We're going to slowly work our way through this.
Okay. Are you sending it through Skype or through
Yes.
Okay.
No, I'm sending it to the side there.
Okay, to the thingy. Okay.
This is very entertaining.
Oh, for God's sake. Let's play. All right. So just a second. Oh, you fucking stupid thing. Stop screen sharing that. Start screen sharing.
No, I got it actually.
Okay. Okay. Here we go.
This is so much more rewarding.
So you can see it.
I can see it. I just can't hear the damn thing.
Okay. Well, that's because it's muted. Okay. Here we go. Can you hear it?
No.
Okay, I got it off then. Okay, now I'm gonna blow my nose in front of everybody. Oh, ow, my poor nose.
So I am echoing. No, I'm not echoing.
Okay, good. All right, I'm gonna play it, and then you can let me know if you can
go full screen. Go full screen.
Full screen. Play.
Oh yeah, there we go, baby.
All right, it's working.
This episode comes with a content warning for game footage involving hypersexualized female characters and is not recommended for children. As always, remember that it's both possible and even necessary to be critical of the media we enjoy. That's going to be especially important to keep in mind given the video game franchise we're about to discuss. In 1987, Nintendo released a 2D action-adventure game for their Nintendo Entertainment System, which departed from traditional video game conventions. Metroid starred a bounty hunter named Samus Aran, who's covered head to toe in the now iconic cybernetic power suit. The game's manual referred to the protagonist with male pronouns and described his identity as shrouded in mystery. Metroid was notable as an early example of a game that employed multiple alternative endings, which could be unlocked based on the player's gaming skill and performance. If the player is able to complete the game in under 5 hours, a short cutscene will play featuring the protagonist without their armored helmet, revealing that Samus Aran is in fact a woman. This was a significant moment in gaming history, especially for many female gaming fans, because at the time, nearly all protagonists were just assumed to be male by default.
Okay, well, wasn't this one assumed to be male by default until the twist ending? It's like the crying game.
Well, yeah.
Only backwards.
Yes, well, I guess I don't know. I guess her point is that the majority of the gaming audience in the 80s was male, so they featured a male protagonist. Sort of like the majority of romance novels are consumed by women, therefore they use a woman. But
yeah, generally speaking, and they have, you know, their own specific tropes that they engage in, and yeah, it's the character you're supposed to identify with as a reader is the female character. That's just how it works. That's why
it's patriarchy in this instance.
Romance novels are completely two-dimensional, so that you can insert yourself into them.
All right, well, let's keep going. I mean, that's like, I don't know.
I don't see anything crazy about this or weird about this. Like,
yeah, but you have to look through the feminist lens. Everything is sinister.
Everything is problematic.
Everything
is problematic. Somebody needs to do a Matthew Goodband cover. But everything is problematic.
Everything.
Back before the internet, when you couldn't just hop online to find out about all the secrets and spoilers. So for many players, the ending of Metroid came as a genuine surprise. Still, the subversion only worked provided players were skilled enough to achieve the surprise ending. In retrospect, Samus's gender reveal perhaps should not have been as shocking as it was, considering that Metroid is heavily influenced by the Alien films. Sadly, the alternate endings did not stop there. The two best endings make Metroid one of the first games to exploit the women as reward trope, as both reveal Samus in various states of undress. The better a player does, the more clothing is removed. If the player completes the game in under 3 hours, Samus is shown without her armor and in a leotard. If the player finishes in under 1 hour, they're treated to Samus in a bikini.
The horror of that.
Well, yeah, I guess I don't know. What do you think? What do you think? Is there a point there, or is this just?
Well, I mean, there is a point. I mean, like attaching better skill, like more, you know, like attaching a higher level of achievement and a better level of skill to, you know, seeing a woman in increasing levels of undress is just, it's just a metaphor for real life, isn't it?
Well, it's at least how we've, you know, or I mean, we could get into an argument about sociology versus biology, but yeah.
Well, as a man, the more successful you are, the more likely you are to be able to see any woman naked, right?
Right. Yeah. And also, I mean, feminists employ this all the time.
Oh,
I mean, look at the slut walk. Look at this. This is what a feminist looks like. I mean, they employ the idea of withdrawing or granting female sexuality based on male behavior constantly.
All the time.
And they do it in their insults as well. You know, virgin, neckbeard, loser.
Yeah, probably can't get laid. You got a tiny dick. Yeah. Micropeened loser. Neckbeard, virgin, lives in his mother's basement, can't hold on to a girlfriend, blah, blah, blah. Right? I mean, it's like acknowledging that this is a theme through society, right? But you know, I can't see the feminist complaint with it when they're so willing to sort of abuse the trope themselves, when all of society seems to work this way. And I don't see it as particularly harmful to women. I see it as a power that women have over men. You know, do it in 1 hour and, you know, and then you can see me in a bikini.
You can see a pixelated boob.
Yeah, I know. It's like, seriously, I mean, like, this like worse than National Geographic magazine.
Yeah, yes, this is like on the scale of nudity from, like, I don't know, Mercedes Carrera to nothing. This is like a hitting underneath a National Geographic nudity.
Oh yeah, would not fap again. 0 out of 10.
Yeah, but I wanted to point out. I mean, it just like this is really seems to be very typical of Anita.
Yeah,
she wants to criticize this behavior in other people, and it starts to feel more like feminists are competing over this particular territory. It's not that it's really a problem to see women's sexuality as a reward. It's that people other than feminists use that power. You know, and if they were really, really honest and weren't being hypocritical, they would actually look at themselves. And I got into this. I mean, I know this is the Rantzerker is about you, Karen, but
that's okay.
I want hopefully this will prod you to talk.
I'm gonna blow my nose.
Okay, do that. I got into this argument, and I've gotten into this argument since Kevin with a number of different feminists, and I've said to them, have you ever asked yourself if feminist belief hurts women? And invariably, they can't give me an honest answer. I had one person say no, then yes, then I asked, well, what specific feminist belief have you questioned hurts women? And then she could not answer. She couldn't say. And it's like,
you asked yourself a general question and then said, no, of course not, and went on her merry way. Who-do-do-do-do-do.
Yeah, but that's the thing. I mean, if you're a feminist and you say your moral guideline is to deal with, like to figure out how to help women or protect women or whatever, and you've never actually questioned whether or not your beliefs, you expect everyone else to question their beliefs, but you're never willing to do the work yourself. And it's exactly the same thing here. Anita, as a feminist, seems to be okay with using female sexuality as a reward as long as they're the ones doing it. So this is really a territory. This is a gang fight. This is gang colors. People that just
it is too, and it's I can understand why they are fighting so hard over the territory, because
it's valuable territory.
It is, but it's only valuable to feminists in as much as the power that women have can be recast as an oppression or a victimization, right? Because that's where the real power is for women, right? Like you look at a man's battle cry, I'm going to kill you, right? And you look at a woman's battle cry, you're harming me. You're harming me.
Yeah.
Right? So
yeah, I'm the damsel.
Yeah. So essentially, they're not just fighting over the turf of who gets to claim this as their sort of territory, but it's how the territory shall be claimed. What flag will be planted in the middle of that, that pile of scantily clad women. And feminists want to plant the flag of victimhood, that all of these women are victims, and therefore all women are victims, and because that's where they get their power from. And regular women just want to revel in their sexuality.
Okay, shall we continue?
Yes.
So yes, Samus wasn't a damseled woman waiting at the end of the game as a trophy. Rather, her body itself became the prize awarded to players for a job well done. Later games in the Metroid series continued the convention of rewarding players with endings featuring Samus in various states of undress.
Okay, I just want to parse like this. Do you remember at all the ending of the movie Alien and the movie Aliens, and how at the very end of the movie we get to see Sigourney Weaver dressed in her braless undershirt and her little bikini panties, settling in for hypersleep.
Yeah, but wasn't that just a function of hyper? Well, I guess you're right. Yeah.
I mean, like, it was probably a function of hypersleep, but the camera didn't really have to linger on her body the way it did. It didn't have to, and honestly, she's not a curvy, voluptuous woman, but in the context of that movie, she's extremely sexual because she's sort of lean and muscular, and she's got sort of a slim but wiry, powerful build, and yet it's still sexy and the whole bit, right? Why? Like, I don't see a whole lot of difference.
The other thing, I know, I get what you're going at. I mean, because the power and her agency was what made her more attractive.
Yeah.
And so wouldn't this be a good thing? Like, human beings are mammals. We're going to find each other sexually appealing. Isn't it a good thing that this is sort of encouraging the idea of, or at least in a feminist context, encouraging the idea of finding women who have agency, who do shit, who don't just plop their asses down and I don't know.
Yeah, no, agreed.
Make babies. She goes out, Samus goes out and does, Ripley goes out and does, and protects the cat or the kid, and she does something. She goes out and she fights, and she faces her fears. And then you get to see that she's also, there's some sexuality there. That almost is like a, that's almost like it's very, it seems very, it's subversive, but it also seems similar to the way we sexualize men. I mean, there's a component of we want the agency there, we want the strength there, and as part of the sexiness.
You look at their poses. Their poses, you know, well, I mean, there's you know, even just the sort of the fireman calendars and the policeman calendars and all of this, and you look at their poses and their power poses, their action poses, right? And you look even at Sigourney Weaver as she's, you know, she's doing her stuff. She's completely unself-conscious. She is not, you know, hamming sexually for the camera. She's not like trying to be sexy. She's so incredibly sexual in that moment. And part of the reason why she's so attractive is indeed the fact that she's somebody who does things, right? And this is not a movie that was popular with women. I mean, was with a small cohort of women, yes, but this is a movie that was made popular by male viewers, right? And Samus, Metroid, is a games franchise that was made popular by male players who actually really enjoyed seeing a woman in an active role, in a tough, just extremely active role of being an agent and doing things on her own behalf and on behalf of other people, right? So, like, I just, so she's in a freaking tankini, like, at the end.
Yeah, well, that, if you're gonna be like, I don't understand the feminist anger here. If men are gonna feel sexual towards any particular woman, and I'm just looking at this in the feminist context, I'm not trying to say that feminine women who embody different types of strength are less sexual. But in looking at it through the feminist lens, wouldn't this be the subversive, like, wouldn't this be the way they would want men to see women as the whole package, the strong protector, and also the sensual, sexual being? Like, that's sort of what seems to be presented here. And I would say that there is a similar sort of vulnerable sexualization that goes on with male characters, powerful male characters, when they get hurt.
Yeah.
Yeah. And they're physically hurt and they're vulnerable, and you see the scene with the woman taking care of them. That's the same thing, except I guess Samus doesn't need to be hurt to also be vulnerable. So I don't know. She just can take off her clothing, which is very efficient for women. You don't have to have a bleeding head wound to look cute and vulnerable. Where that's what you have to do when you're a man. Do you want to continue?
All right.
In one sense, Samus Aran definitely did subvert traditional gender tropes of the 1980s by taking on the role of intrepid hero. However, she and her body were still presented to players as prizes to be won. The convention of earning access to cutscenes or ending vignettes with eroticized female bodies can be found in many titles over the past 30 years.
You have come, Apollo.
Come where?
Oh no! Did you say the cutscene? Yeah, you have come, Apollo.
You have come, Apollo. Where
have you come?
I didn't see any white splatter anywhere. So
yeah, what I feel a little deprived there. I feel like there was a bit of a letdown. You know, you had her trussed up like that, but there was no bukkake party.
No bukkake party. Poor Valenti. She's still asking for it.
Okay. Now let's just
male tears.
Oh god, that's hysterical. She just sort of parachutes in. Most of this stuff seems more like cheeky comedy.
Yeah.
Oh my god, he explodes into a bikini-clad woman.
A cheeky comedy, okay? Like, because my daughter, she made a bunch of merchandise, fan art merchandise, and she went to an anime convention just like this summer, right? Had a table and sold some of it. And I told her next year she should have some of those pens made where you turn them when they're right side up, they're wearing clothes, and when you turn them over, they get naked, right? Because that's just cheeky humor, and you see that with men and women, right? Often the men, when their clothes disappear, they're still wearing their black dress socks and garters. But yeah, like it is cheeky, and like some of these images are so cartoonish and so silly that I can't imagine that anybody would really find them particularly erotic at all.
I think I know Anita's new series. She's going to be looking at the pervasive misogyny and problematicness, or whatever she terms it, of hilarious birthday cards.
Yeah.
Like satirical drawings, like like British humor from this. I'm sure that she's probably considered.
How come she hasn't taken on Benny Hill? Because he's ripe for it, and he has been for decades.
And I almost sort of want to see her mug and that music juxtaposed.
Oh well, I'm sure someone in the chat will put them together. Okay, moving on.
The roots of the women as reward trope all the way back to the beginnings of the medium itself. As we discussed in our Damsel in Distress miniseries, upon successful completion of many arcade games, players were rewarded with the related Smooch of Victory trope, so named for the kiss the hero.
Oh my god, you're kidding me!
I know. I can't even imagine somebody does something for you and then you hug them and kiss them afterwards. Like when I pulled my nephew and my son out of the undertow off the coast of Cuba and spent half an hour dragging them to safety, right? And then vomited up a stomach full of seawater, right? Wanting to hug me. That was just like some kind of total sinister nastiness, right? And I shouldn't have expected any gratitude on their part in the form of like affection or, thank you, or whatever. And oh my goodness, that evil dastardly heart above Mario and Peach there. I'm gonna think twice every time somebody sends me the little arrow and the 3 in an emoji or
I think every time someone sends you that, Karen, you need to find a couch. Preferably one with like that like older type of fabric that's sort of like from the Victorian era.
Brocade or like
and make sure that your corset is properly tightened, and then you have a good feint.
I'm gonna, but I have to have my pearls.
Yes, and clutch your pearls as you have a good feint. Because God knows emoji, that's oppression.
Yeah, no, it's sexualization, and it's essentially demanding that I like serve up my sexuality as a reward for,
sexualizing a email. Because this is you see, it's over sexual. It needs a trigger warning. This email has been over sexualized by graphic emoji.
Like, has nobody ever spontaneously kissed somebody or hugged somebody as a show of appreciation or gratitude for something that they did, or admiration?
I mean, it's a pretty chaste kiss. I mean, she's just kissing his jowl.
Yeah, like under his mustache and everything, but not
even kissing the mustache.
Yeah,
I mean, might have a point, Anita, if she was kissing the mustache.
Like,
let's just keep going.
All right.
A kidnapped princess. Sometimes the prize is blatant, as with the standard hero reward, in which a king will give his daughter to the hero.
Okay, all right. I had got into this stupid argument on TV tropes. Who does the hero want this reward? Have we ascertained? I mean, seriously, how do you know he's not just biting his lip, thinking to himself, "Don't insult the king. Don't insult the king. Don't insult the king." And that's his life for the rest. It's like, oh my God, I don't want to be in this situation. I mean, really.
Yeah.
Here's my daughter. I'm giving you and half the kingdom to you. And also, like what would happen if he said, no, I'm not interested in your daughter? What do you think that's going to go over very well?
Yeah.
Talk about social pressure, huh? Anyway.
Well, and on top of that, right? Like marriage in those times that they're talking about here was very much a political decision. It was a decision that didn't really have a whole lot to do on, love and mutual affection and all of that between the two parties, but on forging alliances between houses, and all of those things. So essentially someone, and it very much depended particularly if the one was high status, on a man being able to display his worth, right? So actually, like, overcoming all of these hardships and obstacles in order to actually save the life of this princess, maybe that actually fit the bill. Like, I mean, this is a commentary on how things used to be. It's not a commentary on how things should be.
Yes. Also, I can hear your pooch.
Oh yeah, no, her toenails are really.
She's a reward for.
No, she's not. She's a booby prize.
Employing the parallel sex of victory or rescue sex trope. Yes, it's exactly what you think it is. Instead of a kiss, sex with the rescue victim is the player's reward.
I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm sorry, but you know, you got a manly man, you got a manly hero. Dog, I will fucking beat you. Go lie down. You got a manly man who has done all of this stuff, right? And there he is in front of you with all of his, look at his beefy muscles, but he's not too built. He's just built perfectly. And he's got the tats, and he's got the hair, and
yeah, I don't think. I think you have to be a feminist to just want to, and because I love how she gives that the sound of her voice and the space. You know that you're supposed to. It's like she put a big neon sign with an arrow saying "Insert outrage here," except I don't have any outrage to insert. I'm sorry, Anita.
I don't know. I'm looking at this guy here, and I would so fucking bang him if he was as sort of tough and gritty as he looks, right? I would totally freaking climb him like a fire pole. And yeah, no, this is just honestly, it goes both ways. It really does, right? What he is reflects what women find attractive. What she is reflects what men find attractive. The scenario of him rescuing this woman, going through all of this bullshit, all of these hardships, all of this self-injury, right? To do so, I mean, isn't that the plot of multiple sort of epic stories through history? There's a reason why it's a trope. It's because it's how people feel.
Yeah, it's I think I like something a little bit more mutual, but I understand the appeal of this.
Well, yeah, and of course, because it's a game aimed at men, it's going to primarily look at the man's role in this scenario.
Yeah, it creates a sense of like when the guy has gone through all of this shit, and at the end he gets to cuddle down with his woman, get some aggressive cuddling going on. That's the reward. That's the release, right? And I totally understand that.
Isn't the plot of every romance novel? I mean, like, honestly.
Yeah, well, but there's a certain element of the women winning the men.
Well, yes, but at the same time, I mean, like, so many of the ones that I've read, they end up, the man puts himself through a ringer, right, through a meat grinder to prove his love and his devotion to the woman. And then at some point after that, when he's like lying beaten and bloody on a bed and she has to tend him and nurse him back to health, that's when she realized that he's really worthy of her love, right? And then they get down and get like really freaking, but so much of it is, so much of this is based on the idea that men have to prove themselves as worthy of a woman's sexuality, right? So it's not just some kind of, it's just a reward he gets for doing well. No, he's not guaranteed to get that reward, but he has to do it if he wants to have any chance of getting that reward. And maybe in a video game, because guys don't have that certainty in real life of jumping through all the hoops and putting themselves through a meat grinder and actually getting what they want out of a woman after having gone to those lengths to prove themselves worthy of her, right? Maybe in a video game, the idea that the reward is automatic is just really tempting for a lot of guys.
Well, not automatic, but at least it's more clear.
So there you go. I mean, like, when you ask men to do all of these things to make themselves worthy of a woman's sexuality. And I mean, like, even feminists have these demands that they place on men. They're just different demands. You know, make sure you ask at every escalation of a sexual encounter. Make sure you get a distinct yes, right? Make sure that you respect her. Make sure that you revere her, you know. Don't ever treat her like she's an object, blah, blah, blah. We have all these demands on you before you will be able to get rewarded with consensual sex, right? And anything less than consensual sex, you know, is going to put you in the fucking hoosegow, right?
Well, I mean, I know what you're saying when you say anything less than consensual sex. You mean like more sex that, anything less than enthusiastic consent.
Anything less than repetitive verbal confirmation.
Oh, God.
Consent, right? And so, I mean, like, essentially what you have is you have men who have to, like, march through a fucking minefield, right? Get their legs blown off, right? Suck it up and march on, play through the pain, keep going, right? And maybe, just maybe, right, they'll be worthy of that pom-pom waving, you know, enthusiastic consent that's required for them to stay on the right side of the law, right? Maybe they'll be called a nice guy and be essentially, you know, lumped in with all of the creeps and the perverts and the rapists. But, you know, who knows? So we set up this mountain that men have to climb in order to get sex, and then we somehow hate them for expecting a sort of an uncomplicated reward in their fiction.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, you create this incredibly difficult scenario, and then you blame people for fantasizing about it not being so difficult. it's pretty perverse.
The outcome guaranteed.
Yeah. Well, I mean, not necessarily guaranteed, but at least more like. And what's interesting is it isn't even as simple as a romance novel. You still have to go through the game and do the effort, but it's still, there's an element of it that is less difficult. You've removed, I guess, the element of the complex social rules, and you've just reduced it down to simple mechanical ability or strategic ability, which is
perform X and I get Y, as opposed to I perform X, but there are a multitude of other letters that may or may not be included that will determine whether or not I get to have Y.
Yeah. It's like, and they're blaming men for just wanting to just have a break from that in games.
The whole idea too, right? You look at it like, I would bang any of those women, fuck, in a heartbeat, right? Like, am I a sexual predator? Right? I don't need to know anything more about them, right? If I learn more about them and they turn out to be like complete, horrible, awful people with the personality of, like, I don't know, a wet blanket, then it's not going to be very exciting for me. But, you know, like, looking at these women's bodies, I'm attracted to them. And am I supposed to feel guilty for wanting to, you know, have sex with women that look like that?
No, because you're also a woman. So all of your desires are acceptable unless they are internalized misogyny and caused by the patriarchy, and nobody knows the difference.
So what you're saying is if I don't want to have sex with Lindy West as well, I'm a misogynist?
I think so. I don't know. I've never figured out the roles of this. I think it's just you have to check in with your closest feminist overlord and confess, and they will tell you what's wrong.
Well, this whole thing just seems to be pathologizing sexuality. Like,
I think that's it.
Yeah.
Oh, it's just like, well, I think they just want to have control over the entire process and the outrage, and I think they want to suck the joy out of fucking everything in the world.
All right.
Somewhere someone is having fun. Stop that.
Okay. Can you guys see me on the screen at all, or
no? It because you're sharing the screen, it just shows the. You'd have to take it off, and I think that let's not screw with the system.
I'm not going to do that. I just wanted to make sure, because I'm getting up and I'm letting my freaking retarded dog out because she's not going to stop. Stop! Get down! Back off! Stay. Back.
Oh my God. All right. Well, so that was a thing. Karen let her dog out.
Sorry. Now now she's out. Okay, because she was like jumping up and down and barking and like being super hyper and retarded, and so I had to get rid of her. Okay.
Uh-oh, you're so ableist, Karen.
Yeah, but except for she is retarded.
All right, let's do this thing.
Move along.
That was gonna get ugly. You saved us.
My pleasure, ladies.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Saved my life. A bit of joy as recompense is not too much to ask.
I'm intrigued. It's been a tough day. I think some joy might do me good.
We've coined the whip.
Oh wait, that stopped too soon. Now we're back to
No, it did. It really did. But here's the thing, right? Joy. Isn't that what it's supposed to be all about? Right? The coming together of two bodies, particularly in life-threatening circumstances. This is another massive trope. I think that everybody can remember that scene in Enemy at the Gates where Rachel Weisz and Jude Law end up, sneaking a quick copulation while they're lying in the midst of 100 snoring, farting fellow soldiers, because they could die any minute. And so they're taking what joy they can out of what time is left to them. Like this, it's an affirmation of life. Sex is an affirmation of life. It's an affirmation of humanity.
yeah.
Right. And she's treating it like it's like some dirty, nasty thing that people steal from women, and that even when women give it freely,
They're still stealing it.
it's still stealing it.
Yeah, no, all of this criticism is predicated on the idea that somehow having a penis inside you is like the worst possible thing that could ever happen.
Oh,
I don't know.
I just don't understand this. Like,
I mean, maybe it's just because. Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, you go ahead. Maybe it's just because.
Well, because I blank on Jonathan's hand is up her, and she hasn't really experienced the other part. Maybe it's foreign to her, and he's actually said, this no, it's the hand is the right appendage to have up a woman.
Oh,
Moving the head around and moving the lips, as opposed to the other one, and he said to abate her curiosity.
So far up her bum, he's making her lips move.
Mm.
Yeah, I don't know what it is, but I just like this entire attitude seems so, like, even the fucking Victorians, right? They really looked down on sex outside of marriage. Like, really. And yet there was still some semblance of seeing sex within marriage as something life-affirming, as something spiritual, as something that was, good to have between the two parties that were sanctioned to be able to have it. I don't. This, like, what she's getting at is just anything sexual is just automatically nasty and gross.
Yeah, well, that's the thing. Like, if you look at it, okay, if you saw male sexuality as a gift, as something, a pleasurable, something that you share, or even even if it was just at the level of a nice brunch, he's inviting her to brunch, to have some waffles, even if it was that level of beneficial, of pleasure. I mean, we wouldn't see this woman pontificate on how bad it is for a woman to reward a man with sex, because essentially she's getting the reward. She'd like double. Not only is she getting saved, she's getting delicious waffles out of the deal.
There you go.
Waffles being a euphemism for,
penis.
Waffles. Here, let's go.
I
don't even. Let's keep going though.
So Puritan.
Women as a reward trope to describe a long-running pattern found in interactive media. It occurs when women, or more often women's bodies, are employed as rewards for player.
Wait. How is she separating women from their bodies? And is there any indication that these women are not consenting?
Well, on top of that, like, how do you separate a woman from her body?
Yeah. Like, well, I mean, I guess what she's implying is that these were all rape scenes. They didn't look like rape scenes to me, friend.
Well, I just,
they look like women saying, "Hey, you just did some real, like, okay, is it a rape scene if a woman does, like a sexy dance of the 7 veils and a man wants to have sex with her after? Because this is the same thing. The guy has just done something that makes men sexually appealing to women, which is, some sort of dangerous task. And, he's shown off his strength and his ingenuity, his cleverness and everything. She's just done the male version of the Dance of the 7 Veils, and she's saying, oh no, that's horrible if the woman wants to fuck him after that.
I know. Like she completely, and okay, yes, in these cases, the male is the playable character and the female is a NPC, right? And so it's a lot easier to impute a motivation on her that is, or impute things on her or remove her agency because she is not a playable character. But exactly, like, this guy has just performed. He's performed the sexiest fucking thing that a man can do, which is like overcome hardship, overcome adversity, defeat enemies, see them driven before you, right? All of this stuff. He's been wounded. He's had moments of self-doubt that he's had to get through. He's, had to muster his courage. He's had to do all of these things, right, that we associate with sexiness in men, right? Of course women are going to want to fuck him after that. Yeah. Why do you think women like men in uniform?
Yeah. And like I said, would she say the same thing about a man who wants to have sex after a woman does a sexy dance for him, or does something sexy, or puts on some sexy lingerie, or even wants to see
by uniform naked? By uniform, I'm not saying the UPS uniform or like the janitor's uniform. I'm talking like firemen, military, policemen, right? All of those. You need strength. You need courage. You need fortitude. You need the ability to cope with adversity. Yeah. Right. Those are the uniforms women find sexy. Not the dude who's like, plunging toilets and replacing fuses in fuse boxes and mopping floors for a living in uniform.
Workmen they have a certain sexiness.
They do. They absolutely do.
The lumberjacks, that kind of stuff, Oh,
but usually the ones that are sexy, like lumberjacks and stuff like that, are also engaging in dangerous work.
Yeah, right? But you could make the argument that there is an element of that to male sexuality with the Samus and Ripley. I mean, these women have done something very, very, very dangerous and they've gone through that self-doubt, and now you get to see them as a sexual being, and that there's a reward there for the all-male audience.
I think that this
warrior cat girl.
This is actually really indicative of the male
human.
In many ways, as long as if you're a straight male, in many ways, as long as a woman's body is attractive, you can find a lot of different personality traits attractive in a woman. You can maybe find someone who's quiet and meek and a little bit nerdy attractive, and you can also sort of the beauty who hides behind her glasses, like in the movie Sabrina. You can find someone who's tough like Ellen Ripley attractive. You can find innumerable women attractive if they're physically attractive, and
I've also heard guys who say the reverse. It's the personality or the face. I mean, I think that it's really difficult to get into this subject because I think men are very different. Like there's diversity. I think women are actually more homogenous in what they find attractive. If you're willing to sacrifice or engage in very dangerous shit and you look like Thor, you're good. That's, anyway, but why don't we continue?
All right,
let's keep going because we got a lot to go through, a lot of shit. A lot of pile of shit.
Consumable, and positions women as status symbols designed to validate the masculinity of presumed straight male players. There's some overlap between the damsel in distress and women as reward, but they function differently. While the damsel in distress trope uses women as a plot device to motivate male heroes, the women as reward trope presents women as a formalized reward mechanism, meaning that the reward is coded into the game system itself. The incentive structure.
Games are programmed, you doofus!
Yeah, I know. It's impossible to not have a game in which some outcome hasn't been coded in.
It's like, what the goodbye until you get like some sort of infinite probability engine, lady. You're gonna have games be programmed, oh god, I think my brain is broken. Okay, just keep going.
Women's bodies, women's affection, or women's sexuality is reduced to a simple equation that guarantees delivery as long as the correct set of inputs are entered into the system.
Unlike real life. Oh my god. Unlike real life, where they tell men, here's what you have to do to get a woman, right? Here's what you have to do to attract a woman.
Be yourself, bullshit.
Be yourself, and just be nice to her and, do things for her and blah, 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 and then if they're lucky, they just get to be her emotional tampon, right? Well, she complains about all the other men who she's fucked and then they didn't call her in the morning, right? Like,
oh goodness, yeah. It's like
God forbid men be allowed to indulge in a universe where sex is easy.
Yes, or, well, the other thing is that if you're going to have sexuality in a game, necessarily it's going to be programmed in, and you're going to be able to engage in a certain series of sequence of actions or inputs to receive that content. There's no other way. So essentially she's saying that sexuality should not be in games, period, because games are too deterministic, damn it. Okay, continue.
The women as reward trope helps foster a sense of entitlement, where players are...
This fucking drives me crazy.
Go ahead. I'm not going to stop you.
When one feels entitled to something, one does not jump through hoops. One does not put oneself through a meat grinder. One does not go out of their way over and over and over again to achieve and prove one's worth, to earn that thing.
Could you imagine?
That's not entitlement.
Could you? Okay, I feel entitled to access my bank account balance. Could you imagine if you had to do all this shit to just access your bank account? It's like, no, you're not entitled. That's entitlement. Entitlement is the things that you own. I'm entitled to go sit on my couch. I don't have to have a conversation with my couch saying, "Are you okay with me sitting on you right now? Can I touch you there?" I said, "Okay, all right. You have a headache. I'm sorry. I'll go sit on the chair." You don't have that kind of conversation. You don't have that kind of conversation with your cashier. Oh, is it okay? Can I take my money out now? No, I don't feel like it. The bank doesn't consent to that. Those are entitlements. If men felt entitled to women's sexuality, or if society treated men as entitled to women's sexuality, men would go up to a woman just the way you go up to your couch and sit down, and they would just pick her up, take her home, have sex, tell her to leave. That's or even
I just it's the most infuriating fucking thing, right? It does not matter to what lengths men are driven to go. It does not matter how much they have to do, right, and prove to earn a woman's attention. It does not matter, because it's still entitlement, and they still obviously feel entitled just because penis, right? You know what? In her world, right, all of these video games, right, they might as well just be boiled down to, you open the opening screen, there's a naked woman lying in front of you, and you bone her. Because you're entitled, because you're a man.
Yeah, I mean, men don't even want to do that.
No,
that would be like the worst selling game ever. Well, maybe not. I don't know. They have to have a little bit of challenge.
Like, I feel entitled to fucking pizza right now, but you know what? If I actually want one, I'm going to have to pay for it. I'm going to have to earn it, right? So I'm not really entitled to that at all. No matter what what I meant to say is that I want a pizza right now. I want one.
Yeah,
And
well,
if I do something, right? If I do the right things, I might be able to get one.
Okay, all right, okay.
I
Let's
want
try
a friend, so I'm going to behave in a friendly way. And if I do everything right, I'm going to get a friend.
Okay, all right. Let's try to figure out what the hell she means by entitlement.
Oh my God.
Encouraged to view women as something they've earned the right to by virtue of their gaming action.
Okay, wait. Earned the right to? That's not entitlement. You use this word, and you do not know the meaning of it.
Even if she says, okay, so then they feel like after they've done all of this stuff, then they're entitled to it. Do any of these games depict these men taking something that isn't offered?
No, they look pretty. Those women look pretty hot to trot.
Those women all look like and plainly say, in the latter case, of where she's like, you deserve a little joy, right? They are plainly offering sex. So what's the problem? And how is he feeling entitled? It's not like he, goes through all of the freaking game mechanics and like freaking beats all the bad guys and then goes and rapes the fucking princess at the end. While she says, no, I really didn't think that this was, I didn't
deal.
Mind.
Okay, we got to get through this though, Karen.
Fuck.
Accomplishments. This is illustrated in arcade classics like Joe and Mac and Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles.
Seriously.
After players save the damsel in both games, she will bestow a kiss on the character who earned the most points on that stage.
Okay, she's just repeating herself. Let's just keep watching.
Entitlement to women is made even more explicit in many versions of
Entitlement to women? Did that turtle give his consent? Did she ask him for his enthusiastic consent before she put her disgusting sexually assaultive mouth on his fucking bald green head? Did she?
Don't. That turtle wasn't asking for it, Karen. He was not. I saw the fear and pain in his eyes.
Oh my God. Like Peach and Mario too. Like she just goes up to him and kisses him.
Yeah.
Right? Like she's invited or something.
Yeah. Okay. But let's get through this. We can do it, Karen.
At the end of the game, after the final boss has been defeated and the damsel in distress saved, Player 1 and Player 2 must fight each other over who gets to have Marion, and with her, the smooch of victory.
Oh, look at a panty shot,
I
too.
saw her,
Very adorable.
Totally saw them.
I saw them, too. They were white.
Except Marion's desires are not part of the equation. She has no say in the matter. She says,
what? Wait, no, I got this one. She got down and walked over to him, idiot. No, sorry, I keep doing the ad hominem. I apologize to people. She got down and walked over to him. Is that not say?
Well, except that she's an NPC, right? She's an NPC, so she's a prop.
Yeah,
right?
But then you have the problem that everyone who's written in a story is raped because they can't consent to the sex that the writer is creating, but they don't. Oh God.
Moving on.
Your logic makes my brain hurt.
Yeah, no, oh God, like all 4 of my books, like I actually featured a rape in one of my books, and now I have to come to terms with the fact that all the sex in my books was rape because I was the person in control of the decisions of the characters. And they did not consent.
You're a rapist, Karen.
I am. On a massive scale. Because I write erotica.
Yeah. And you've raped all of your readers, too.
I did, too.
Did you pre-ask them before you had those sex scenes that they wanted to have those particular sex scenes?
Well, no, I didn't.
You're bad.
I didn't. And I chose on their behalf what scenes they would be exposed to in my books.
You're bad and you should feel bad.
I do. All right, moving on.
Whichever player is ultimately victorious. This scene serves as inspiration for similar scenarios in more contemporary games like Castle Crashers. We've identified 6
Clearly she invited that kiss. I'm sorry.
primary ways the women as reward trope manifests in video games. Over the course of this episode, we will examine each in turn. In addition to the earned cinematics we've already discussed, we will cover the trope as it relates to Easter eggs, unlockable costumes, experience points, collectibles, and achievements.
All right. Let's stop this for a second. This is all just going to be fucking repetition. You know that. I mean, she's essentially established that she just, a non-playable character showing any sexual interest in a playable character is somehow rape or problematic or whatever the hell word she's using today. So this is just going to be repetition of the same theme. Do you want to do this? Do you want to go through all of this?
Well, let's skip ahead a bit. You want to skip ahead a bit?
Yeah, I think let's skip ahead like maybe 15 minutes. Probably going to be 15. Let's go to 15.
Go to 15 minutes?
No, maybe 20. Let's go to 20. Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, let's see if there's anything has changed.
Okay.
Players are encouraged to view women's bodies as souvenirs of their adventures. In the 2010 remake of Splatterhouse, players are encouraged to collect ripped-up pieces of photographs of the protagonist's girlfriend.
How are they encouraged? Okay, wait. This isn't established. How are they encouraged to do this?
Well, maybe she'll explain it.
Well, I doubt it. It might be in the skip section. Hey guys in the chat, where are you encouraged, or is it just you can do that? Like this is another thing about feminism. It's sort of like all those people who have a problem with the gay option in games, like more of the conservative Christians. I mean, they just have a problem that it exists, that it's possible, and they think that it's encouragement to just have it in there. No, it's a possibility that you can explore. It's not encouragement. Then you don't have to be gay, or you don't have to pick up these pieces of paper.
It's just like the ability in Hitman to kill the female characters. It's like the ability in Grand Theft Auto 5 to run over prostitutes as well as fruit stand vendors and any other bystanders around. It's just if you have the option, then you're being encouraged to engage in it, right?
All right, let's watch this thing.
Ugh.
Once the player pieces them together, the completed images consist mostly of private, personal sexual photos.
I swear to God, you put this on the internet and your ass is grass, Buster.
Sometimes the women as reward trope takes the form of corporate branded product placement. For instance, 2K Games officially partnered with Playboy to include 50 hidden magazines scattered throughout Mafia 2's open world environment. Once found, each collectible opens to reveal vintage centerfolds from real 1950s Playboy issues.
Oh my God, the horror! The horror! Tasteful nudes? Oh, God, Karen.
I just
it's not even gonzo porn. It's not even like really that extreme. It's just a bunch of tasteful nudes from the 60s.
Yeah, I know. It's the stuff that, like, when I would sneak, into the garage and dig out the few magazines my dad had when I was like 12, because I was into that stuff, into looking at women, and they were all just quite tastefully done. They were. I mean, even look at this one, Playmate number 6. Look at her smile. She looks like she's freaking teaching a kindergarten class. Like, it just.
Yeah, I know.
Even necessarily particularly sexual.
No, it's just, unless you're gonna say that nudity is absolutely sexual. But it's like, this is so tame. This is just having sex in a game. That ultimately, all this boils down to is Anita doesn't think there should be sexuality in games, or probably anywhere, really.
Yeah, well,
that's not gonna happen, Anita. Humans like to fuck.
Yeah, well, if she managed to convince humanity that all sex is bad and wrong, right? Then
maybe she should try it. Like,
at least we would know she wasn't going to reproduce.
Having a man's, hand up your ass is not the same, Anita. You should try the penis. You might enjoy it, and the world will be better for it.
You might even enjoy it in your bottom, Anita, if you gave it a try.
Yeah, you might enjoy multiples.
Exactly. There's a lot of things that penises can go into.
Yeah.
And they generally, if you have the right attitude and you're just like sort of really comfortable with yourself, they can all feel really good.
Yeah. Penis does not have to be, penis generally, that's what's really funny is that, and I don't want to just reduce men down to their sexual parts, but literally a penis is the one thing that has evolved over generations, like hundreds of thousands of years, probably millions of years, just to pleasure female women, also men as well, of course. But that's the evolutionary pressure there is female pleasure. Then you're like you're dissing on it there. There's no point. Like just try it out. Just try it, Anita. You might find you like it.
I don't know. I can't imagine that if she engages in sex the way universities want students to engage in sex in the United States, that she would enjoy it, because all I can say is, drier than the Mojave Desert, imagining. I mean, there was even one, oh God, it was Teal Deer, who put up a video critique of a PSA video that showed two college kids having sex the way they're supposed to have sex, ask for consent every step of the way. And I can't even begin to describe the feelings that I had when watching that, because it wasn't just that I was turned off. It was that I was creeped out. Like I was actually creeped out. I found it disturbing. I didn't just find it not a turn on. I found it disturbing and just kind of anti-sexual. It was just.
Did you feel raped?
I felt kind of like I needed a shower.
Did you feel touched inappropriately?
I did.
There you go. That you were touched inappropriately by feminist thoughts.
By dogma.
By dogma.
Oh.
Show us in the dolly where the dogma touched you, Karen. Show us.
It touched me in my vagina.
Okay, let's keep going.
Then stored in the game's inventory and are available to be perused at the player's whim.
That's actually a pretty amazing set of knockers there, because that was probably before implants.
The Metal Gear Solid series took this trend a step further by actually turning pornography into a weapon. In Metal Gear Solid 4, there are Playboy magazines scattered throughout the game world for players to find. When acquired, the magazines are stored in the game's weapons inventory, alongside rifles and handguns, and serve a dual purpose. Players can look through the images at their leisure, and also use them to set traps by laying the centerfolds open on the battlefield to distract enemies.
Tame as hell. Oh, for fuck. Isn't it, okay, stop. Let's analyze that for a second. So essentially, what you do is when a man feels like or is attracted to this magazine, well, has, I guess, a sexual desire, he then gets killed. So isn't that sort of the same thing as death by sex trope? Like, isn't that sort of like punishing male sexuality almost?
Well, it's essentially reducing men down to like being unable to help themselves. And, so, you see a naked woman, your situational awareness like just disappears.
I don't think so. Yeah, maybe I'm not doing it right, but that doesn't. I mean, think about it. If your male partner's mother walks in, his situational awareness is definitely still there. It's definitely still there. Anyway, let's continue.
Romance cards for successfully seducing each of over 24 different non-playable female characters.
Let's take our relationship further.
Oh, for a second there, I thought it was a man.
Thank you.
Behind.
Let's go.
Like other examples we've talked about, these pornographic collectibles are saved in the player's inventory.
Yeah, I don't even think that's pornographic.
No.
Come on, that's her
Renaissance painting.
I think her right boob is disproportionate, which is a little bit bothering me.
Yeah,
that's bothering me, but that's just because it's bad art.
Yeah,
but that's not pornography. That's no.
Any more than Michelangelo's David is pornography, or any of the odalisks painted by the Renaissance painters were pornography.
No, Anita, no.
At any time. The souvenirs function as a prize.
Ooh, that one's sort of cool.
Which
one? Yeah, that one. Yeah, we both went to the same one.
Oh yeah, no, I like that one. I like this one's kind of okay too in some ways. Just I always admired the ability to draw buttocks and this sort of transition to the back of the thigh.
Yeah, it's nice. It's nice.
It is very nice, but this one is actually quite.
It's got that sort of guttural sexuality to it.
It really.
Blood and
it's not pretending to be pretty.
Yeah, it's like you have sex with that woman, you might be missing a kidney the next day.
Yeah, but it'll be worth it.
Maybe, yeah. All right, keep going.
Trophy collection, encouraging players to view these female characters as sexual conquests and acquire as many different flavors of women as possible.
All right, I have to look at the gallery of porn.
Yeah, so let's just for science.
Just
we gotta,
for science.
I like that one's nice too.
Yeah. No,
I predatory.
I really like these because these are sort of almost like the action poses that you see that
with men,
right? That they're sort of very blunt in how they're presenting themselves.
And then there's one down in the bottom row. No, one over. Yeah. There are those two.
Like you, but this one I quite like as well. Particularly she's got the shin guards and the gauntlet and everything else. Like these passive ones, right?
Mm-hmm.
They seem to be, I guess they're okay, but that one's nice. I think. Yeah. But it's
this one, the buxom barmaid one is sort of nice too. One, it's down below. Yeah, there.
Yeah. Yeah, but it's sort of the passive ones are not, sort of the odalisque type, I'm just lying here, right? Or I'm just, presenting myself. Whereas, this one, they seem
there's a little bit of there's a hint of danger.
And action. Yeah.
I actually like the one with the butt in the air. At least she knows what she wants.
Well, yeah, I mean, and she's looking directly into the at the artist, and she's just like, you know what, take me.
Yeah, and also, I actually sort of like the one with the noble woman on the red pillow, because that's got a hint of danger because the power,
Yeah,
she knows it. She's got power. She knows it. She doesn't have to fucking have a sword. She can have other people have a sword for her. Okay. Yes.
Now that we've judged the pornography.
So-called pornography.
Yeah.
Jesus, really.
If collectibles in the player's inventory work as a private trophy collection, then achievements serve as a public trophy case, on display for all to see. Achievements, or trophies, are meta goal award systems built into most popular gaming platforms. Unlike collectibles, achievements are earned through in-game actions, but awarded outside of the game environment itself and have no effect on gameplay. Some achievements are rewarded for skill or completion of tasks, while others are arbitrary challenges set up by developers.
Oh, please. Are you really just doing this for the achievement? Click a door 5 times. Is that all that you think an achievement is worth? No. I can't just give these merits away for such little effort.
These systems encourage replayability.
Okay, wait a second. Why the extended clip of that?
To tell you that you have to really it's encouraging you to go the extra mile.
That just seems a little bit odd. It's a little out of place. It feels almost like that's a product placement there, Anita. That someone's, I don't know, that either that particular game you're sort of giving them a plug. I don't know. It just feels weird because that one. Anyway, keep going.
Incentives to spend more time inside the game space, experimenting with its environments and characters. By default, your achievements are visible to anyone who views your profile in a gaming platform, and thus they allow players to show off their gaming skill or dedication to their friends. In other words, achievements are designed to function as status symbols for gamers. A whole host of games reward players with trophies for successfully having sex with one or more female characters. A suspicious number of those achievements are called Ladies' Man.
Okay, wait a second. Aren't a lot of these, you also get an achievement if you have sex with a male character too?
I have no idea.
Huh.
I'm just gonna let my dog in. Now she's...
All right, because the thing is that a lot of these games there are multiple romanceable options. Now I'm not sure for entirely because I don't really pursue achievements, but one would assume that you would get an achievement for successfully romancing any of the characters, not just one.
Yeah.
Or just women. But I don't know. I mean, some of these games that, of course, you're just playing a male character, so you would only be, or I don't know. I mean, Kratos is from ancient Greece, so.
I kind of want, you know what I want? I want like
pizza.
No, I want like male erotic fiction.
All right, we're going there.
A lot of the female authors that I talked to back when I was still doing that kind of writing, who wrote that exclusively, said that it was because it allowed them to explore female sexual agency without all of the baggage of being female. In other words, they can't view themselves as having sexual agency, even though women arguably have more sexual agency than men do. Because they have.
I don't think that's arguable there, Karen.
They don't have to do as much to access sex, right? So they have more choice, more options, and so part of me is like wishing, just like MRAs tend to think that maybe gay marriage will bring some sanity into divorce court, because you can't have that sort of blanket sexism going on when you're dealing with choosing one gay man over another gay man for custody, right? Part of me wonders if maybe there should be somebody who like develops a male style video game where with all of these same things, being able to have sex with certain characters given, how well you do or whatever, and see if Anita finds any of that problematic.
Everything is problematic.
Everything is problematic.
All right, let's go. Let's watch this shit.
Blessed you, Kratos. Other games in the God of War series use a variety of euphemistic naming schemes for this. In the PS3 version of the original game, the trophy's titled Rockin' the Boat. In Ghosts of Sparta, players receive the A Hero's Welcome trophy. And in Chains of Olympus, the award is called Two Girls, One Spartan.
Excellent.
Oh, Nico, I really like you.
Some games in the Grand Theft Auto series offer achievements for betting a girlfriend.
I think she likes me.
Just so we're clear on what's happening here, players are receiving a literal trophy for achieving sex with a woman. When games such as these award players with achievements or trophies for sexual conquests, they're directly reinforcing negative ways of thinking about the...
Wait. I just had a thought.
What?
You get a trophy when you go through and do something that's difficult and perhaps, while you're doing it, rather unpalatable. It might involve some pain, some sacrifice. Maybe what they're saying is these guys took one for the team, Anita. They expose themselves to female sexuality because, I don't know. I am pushing this. I'm just being silly.
You are pushing it. I mean, because honestly, there is a sense of reward, not in having had sex for a man, not in having had sex with a woman necessarily so much as being able to get sex with a woman.
Yeah. Well,
right.
Yeah, because
there's a status reward that goes along with being desired by women.
Well, I mean, if you're the gatekeepers, if women are the gatekeepers of sex, there's a status to being able to get past the gatekeeper. Right?
Well, just like there's a status to being, like the self-published books, right? That's just masturbation, right? But if you
allegedly
actually published by a publisher, right, and it may be the best masturbation ever. It may be like even better than real sex.
But the only problem with publishers now, it's more like masturbating someone else.
There you go. But, essentially,
it's just still masturbating someone else.
There's a gatekeeper there. And so the status reward of getting published through an e-publisher is better than being self-published and then getting published through a traditional publisher, that status is considered to be greater than getting published through an e-publisher, right?
Yeah.
You have these gradations of how difficult it is to be one of the select few, right, who gets chosen by these gatekeepers. And so essentially this isn't degrading women. It's actually elevating women's sexuality to the status of being sort of the deciding factor of a man's worth.
Well, I mean, if she really wants to change this, then she's got to challenge the idea that women are gatekeepers of sex, and it's going to be difficult. You can start by challenging actually asking yourself, Anita, as a feminist, what beliefs do you hold that harm women? If you want to get rid of the idea of women as gatekeeper, which I don't really think harms women, but I guess there are some downsides to it that do. If you want to actually challenge that, you got to start with your own stupid beliefs.
Agreed. And the first thing that would fall prey to that, if we got rid of this idea that female sexuality is this vaunted, elevated thing, and that women are the gatekeepers to this, with the keys to the castle of sexuality or sexual expression and all of this, right? Then all of a sudden rape becomes not a very heinous crime at all.
Well, I mean, it's heinous, but it's not a situation where, I mean, if you think about it,
it's no more heinous than somebody removing your autonomy and your personal choice for the 10 minutes it takes to beat you.
I don't understand how rape and being physically assaulted are considered to be two so very different things.
Well, it's because we have elevated female sexuality to the point where it's the most valuable thing a woman has, and so therefore if it gets stolen, it's like grand larceny. Even look at some of the symbolism of wedding rings and stuff like that. With this ring, with this $15,000 engagement ring, I am earning exclusive access to your vagina, and you're granting me exclusive access to your vagina. Well, okay, so then a woman gets raped. No wonder people are like, it's grand larceny, right? $15,000 worth of merchandise just got fucking absconded with.
Yeah, but that's the thing. It's like, if you take that, I mean, rape is still a very heinous thing, but it would be no different if you rape a man or a woman, because what you're violating is that sense of trust in the world, and you're forcing you're forcing a sexual intimacy that somebody doesn't want. Yeah, that violates their trust in other people. But that's no different if you're a man or a woman. And yet they continue. And the best way to get rid of the idea of women as sexual gatekeepers would be to start honestly recognizing the sexual abuse of men. But this is they don't want to do that.
No, because that would be giving up their victim status. And like I think I said at the beginning of this little hangout here, that's where they get their power from. They get their power from the appearance of powerlessness.
I know. Okay, so let's continue.
Okay.
Men and women in our society. By presenting sex as an end goal of men's interactions or relationships with women, these games frame sexual encounters as challenges to be overcome. Let me emphasize that the problem here is not necessarily that sex is included in
these. Getting enthusiastic consent isn't a challenge to be over. Like, seriously, lady, your entire movement is about getting consent from women harder and harder and harder and more elusive.
And challenging. Yeah, and then she's like, let me be clear. I'm in no way saying that it's bad that sex is included in these games.
Well, but is it good?
Let me just take it back. Just here.
Encounters as challenges to be overcome. Let me emphasize that the problem here is not necessarily that sex is included in these games.
Yeah, but sex is a goal. If you make sex an outcome in a game, it's going to be necessarily, because of the nature of the medium, the character is going to be able to do certain actions to unlock that content. Like this, yeah, but what? Okay. I feel sort of like I'm being dicked around. Do you want to move forward again?
Oh, let's just keep going.
Presenting players with an award for accomplishing that goal, these achievements function as a form of trophyism. Simply put, trophyism is the tendency for men to view women as
Made-up word.
collected and displayed as status symbols of their sexual prowess or virility.
No. No. They're status symbols of their prowess. Okay. But not their sexual prowess or virility. Because, you know, men don't get to get along in life with just being skillful in bed and virile, right? They have to have, you know, so essentially, you know, if you want this hot, kind of weird looking blonde babe on, you know, hanging on the arm of your bright yellow sweatsuit, you got to do more than just have sexual prowess and virility, right? Like, and it's a way for men to assert their social status among and relative to other men. Yes, it is, right? But the woman is the byproduct. The woman is just the proof. She's not the trophy, right?
Yeah, I think we just continue. I'm finding it annoying that she's just making stupid words up. Trophyism.
And serve as a way for men to assert
Don't we have enough isms?
among and relative to other men.
Never enough isms.
The fame point system in the 2004 version of Sid Meier's Pirates provides us with a stark illustration of trophyism. In the game, romancing and then rescuing any of the game's many governor's daughters not only rewards your pirate with the option to marry her, but also wins him extra fame points.
Well, I would assume so, because a governor's daughter would have significant social status.
Yeah.
Why wouldn't that? That makes sort of sense. And also marrying, is that now problematic too?
Yes, because marriage is slavery for women, don't you know?
Oh God, let's just keep going.
They don't even have names, and their value as a reward is tied directly to their appearance. Courting and marrying a plain daughter earned fewer fame points than marrying an attractive one.
I don't know why that would be.
Ugh. So horrible.
Oh, God.
And marrying a beautiful daughter earns the most points of all. Fame points then directly contribute to the social status your character achieves at the end of the game. Depending on the amount of points accrued, you could...
Okay, I gotta say it, because I did watch a little bit of Sargon's little stream about this. Popper is hung.
Oh, yes, you're right.
He is hung, and you know what? I'll take him over the dandy in the wig any day. Just because.
Yeah, just make sure you do your yoga first.
Well, I mean, he looks like he'd be more useful, you know, around a house. He'd be more capable of doing actual work. You know, like helping me snake a drain.
And it's not just the rat pal.
No, actually, the rat pal actually adds to his appeal. Because
yeah, that's what I was thinking, because you like rats.
Rats are excellent pets, and that's the one horrible thing about moving to Alberta is that I'm not allowed to have a rat as a pet because they make really good pets. They're the smartest rodents out there, and almost comparable to a dog. I'm
just saying that, you know, maybe it wasn't the gigantic.
No, it wasn't actually the gigantic, you know, it's the way he's dressed. He's dressed in a utilitarian, simple fashion. He's, you know, his hair is, he's not all gussied up. He's not frou-frou-y. He looks like, you know, he'd be capable of lifting something heavy. All of those things that, you know, I find attractive, at least in a man's physique, even if he's, you know, working in an office. So yeah, I'm a blue collar kind of. I have more blue collar tastes. So,
and also the rat.
The rat really helps.
Anything from a lowly pauper to a powerful governor. Other ways to earn fame points include acquiring wealth and defeating rivals. Like all your swashbuckling escapades, acquiring a woman becomes just another feather in your proverbial cap, functioning to elevate your prestige and renown in society.
No, it's a simplistic game. I mean, you really can't have a complex like you can't have a complex relationship with an NPC. Oh, I love the derp face you got there.
I know.
Oh my God, the derp. Okay, so derpy Anita. See, it's just like it's the fame. You're not going to get a complicated thing. It doesn't look like it's that kind of a game.
Yeah,
But
no.
she also seems to have a problem if you romance it in a more complicated fashion.
Yeah.
I don't know. Like I said, I think it just boils down to she doesn't like sex in games or anywhere, or sex.
She just doesn't. No, she likes sex. She just
Okay,
doesn't like any world in which men can get it.
Okay, do we really know that she likes sex? Because I want to see the evidence. I'm going to see the evidence first. I'm going to need to see some enthusiastic.
I'm sure
sex
at the very least, she's got an electric toothbrush in her nightstand drawer.
I bet she's never thought of that.
It's any port in a storm if you're too embarrassed to go into a sex shop.
Xbox Live Arcade release, there are achievements for getting married and for courting governors' daughters from all 4 nations at once. These accomplishments also increase your gaming status. Achievements on Sony PlayStation platforms are called trophies, but back when they were first introduced, they were called entitlements, which is a fitting name for those that fall into the women as reward trope. Since entitlement, or more specifically male entitlement, is the crux of much of what we've been discussing in this video, let's take a moment to define what male entitlement actually means.
Oh, good!
The word entitlement refers to the conviction that someone deserves something, that they are owed it, that they have a right to it. By extension, male entitlement is the conviction that men are owed something by virtue of their gender. It's the belief structure that tells men they deserve to have their whims catered to, both culturally and interpersonally. One of the most harmful aspects of male entitlement is the false belief that men have a right to survey and use women's bodies.
Oh, what? Survey? Like, okay, well, just, I'm thinking with compass, like a elevation map sort of thing going on.
Yeah, no.
This is just so much wrong.
How do I even begin? Everything that she has talked about thus far has talked about women, sex, marriage, a kiss from a woman, all of these things as being something that men earn at the end of a long, difficult journey of achievement, right? And they don't even feel entitled. They're not even entitled to it in the sense that they just take it, from Mario doesn't just like fucking pin Princess Peach down and just like freaking take her roughly from behind. No, she goes up to him and gives him a kiss, right? None of these characters, these male characters, seem to be entitled to anything, even at the end of their struggle, even at the end of their journey that they went through to earn the right to possibly have access to women's sexuality. They went through the struggle. That's not entitlement. Then when they were at the end of the struggle, the women freely offered it, right? That's not entitlement.
Yeah, no, the thing is that
real life does not work anything like this. How does real life fucking even Elliot Rodger, right, did not entitled entitled to women. He really, really wanted a woman. He wanted a woman so badly it fucking twisted his mind, right? Among all of his other problems. But if he had felt entitled to women, he would not have died a 23-year-old virgin. He would have died a 23-year-old rapist.
Yeah. But here's the other thing. Every single non-player character female in this, the men didn't earn their bodies. They earned the women's desire for them. There's an entirely different, those women were expressing overt sexual interest. They were going towards the men, kissing the men, giving, like, overtly propositioning the men. Yeah, these men did not earn the women's bodies, they earned the women's desire. It's a completely different situation. And this is what feminists are missing in all of this.
Well, because they objectify women.
And they also objectify men.
They objectify women in the sense that they render them down so that the most important part of that woman is not her desire, or the implied desire of an NPC. It is just her fucking body parts. That's it. That's all she is. She's just a body. And there's no ability for them to actually infer that that NPC who's offering the one dude, take some joy, you've earned some joy this day, or whatever the fuck it was, right? That could have come from a place of genuine desire to give something beautiful to somebody else, right? No. None of that is real, because women are nothing but their fucking vaginas.
Well, it's okay. Yeah. But also it's like they can't see that what these men are actually earning is not physical access to these women. If that's what they were actually earning, if that's what these game players were actually earning, the endings of these games would be significantly different. The women would evince absolutely no desire for the sex. They would just be either passive or resisting, and the men would be taking them by force. That's what would be depicted if this was entitlement. But this is not entitlement to women's bodies. It is the idea that these men have earned these women's desire, that these women are just like open mouth panting after these guys. That's what they earned. That's what they want. This is what the players want to see. Yeah. They want to feel like they are now desirable, that they are desired, that women's mental states have arrayed into desiring the man. This is the exact opposite of objectifying women. This is putting the most important part of this entire exchange is the woman's subjective state of desire.
Yeah.
This is treating that as the most valuable thing to attain, is that her subjective, she wants this guy. She has this subjective feeling of desire. That's what the game player wants. This is the exact fucking opposite of what Anita is saying.
I know.
And it's degrading to men and women. And I'm just going to say how it's degrading to men, because she is lying about male sexuality, and she is turning it, she is objectifying it into something less than what it is. These game players, these men who play these games, they want women's desire. They want to see a fully human being express desire towards them, the subjective state of desire. They do not want just the body. And this is what pisses me off so much, is that she's going out there and she is reducing men down to her shitty dichotomy.
Yeah.
She's reducing male sexuality down to rape sticks. She is a fucking bigot. Sorry.
No. This episode is entitled Rantzerker.
Yeah, but I'm not supposed to be the Rantzerker here.
No. You go ahead. Like, honestly, we can both fucking, like, I just, as far as all of this goes too, right? Denying the ability for a woman to actually feel that stuff, to actually, that there would be a reality in which a hero could go through all of that, through a hero's journey, rescue a woman, right? And have her feel that desire. There could not be a reality in which that exists, right? That also completely erases women as persons.
Yeah, it does. Because she's not seeing the fact that the women are desiring agents here. This is, like I said in the beginning, this is the male equivalent. This is how men wear lingerie. Okay, I'm gonna use Halt and Catch Fire, and I apologize, but there is a scene where the main male character totally fucking demolishes a car with a sledgehammer. And he did it because he wanted to get the juices flowing for a female character. That's how guys wear lingerie.
Yeah.
That's what they do. Yeah. They do this shit. This is male lingerie. So what Anita is saying is she's watching these essentially almost like romance novels, this particular plot. She's watching these men essentially wearing lingerie. I mean, I'm just using this as an analogy. Going out and destroying a car, whatever, doing something aggressive, physically dominating, not in a negative way, but just in a way where you're challenging yourself against the enemy, or you're challenging yourself against the environment, or you're challenging yourself against a goal. Something something strenuous and agent, like what?
Competence.
Yeah, you're displaying that kind of competence. That's the way men put on lingerie and make themselves look attractive to the opposite sex. And she's essentially looking at that men doing that, men trying to do things that generate desire in women and saying that's entitlement to female bodies. That is it doesn't even make any goddamn sense. It's like looking at a woman getting a stripper pole and doing all that exercise and all the shit that you need to do to actually strip well, which is strenuous activity and difficult. It requires balance. It requires exercising. It requires, strenuous activity, and doing this whole stripping dance, and she's getting really sweaty and she's getting into it, and the guy is enjoying it, and saying that her doing that means she thinks she's entitled to his desire. Like, it doesn't even make any goddamn sense when you put it that way. And it doesn't make any goddamn sense when you talk about men that way either. She's putting on a show to try to encourage his feelings of desire for her. At most, these guys are putting on a show to try to encourage these females' desire for them.
Yeah,
at most.
Or just a simulation of what it would be like to have that.
Yeah.
Right?
Shall we continue?
Yes.
This mentality carries with it a corresponding set of expectations about what women should provide for men. It's a worldview that primarily defines women's social role as vessels of sexuality and men's roles as consumers or patrons of that sexuality. Unlike access to clean water or health care.
You want to stop there? Patrons or consumers of sexuality. So, Anita, men don't have any sexuality on their own?
Of course not.
They have no sexual value on their own? These male heroes aren't actually offering something equal to the... Maybe that's why the females are actually asking, because they know that sexuality is a mutual exchange.
Yeah.
And maybe the male heroes are actually offering something of value to them as well. I don't know. Maybe, could we talk about something healthy and mutual? No, obviously not. It all has to be fucking problematic.
Considered human rights that all people deserve simply for being human. Access to a woman's affections, her body, or her sexuality is not a right owed to anyone.
Okay, all right, agreed. And access to a man's body is not a right owed to anyone either. And we can go into a long tumble down the rabbit hole over that one.
Or his affections.
Or his affections. So
or
when
his respect.
Or his paycheck. So when
patience.
Yeah. Or his ears in this case.
Oh my God! Like, honestly, this.
All right, okay, but
Sorry.
I just want to unpack something here. So, she said, go back a bit. I want to re-listen to that.
Okay.
There's like a rant bubbling up here.
Oh shit! Where were we?
There we go.
Entitlement is a pervasive problem in our culture today. The male mindset has a profound impact.
That's what she said. Yes.
Okay. All right. First of all, you're wrong, Anita. Actual physical contact is something that people need or they go insane. So if you want to compare it to other needs, it is a need.
Yes.
That's a need. That's a human need. It's a human requirement. Now, that doesn't mean anybody owes it to you, because we still have to pay for water and shelter.
And food.
And food. And that's how our world works. But it's still a need. And it's one that and what's so pompous about this is it's like watching Marie Antoinette say, let them eat cake.
Yeah.
Because you, as a woman, as the gatekeeper, as the one who is privileged to preside over the lion's share of that particular resource in society, are looking down at the peasants.
Yeah.
And proclaiming that the peasants talking about envisioning, sitting around their campfires, envisioning walking up to your castle and engage and being able to sit down at your fucking buffet and eat as much as they want is somehow oppressing you.
It's entitlement.
It's entitlement.
To imagine it.
To imagine it. To just imagine walking up to the Queen Antoinette's buffet and really eating all the cake. that they could possibly stomach. That's what you're doing, because you're sitting on top. You are the wealthiest. You, as the gatekeeper of this, you, as the controller of this resource, you have said it yourself. Women are the gatekeeper of sex. Therefore, they are the controllers of this resource, and it is a resource because people go nuts without it. It doesn't. Life is not worth living without human connection. As the controller of your resource, you are Marie Antoinette sitting on your goddamn fucking balcony, looking down at the peasants below and saying, you feel entitled if you imagine going up to my buffet.
Yeah.
Act on how men relate to and interact with women. We see it manifest whenever a man orders a woman to show him her tits.
Uh-huh. Except for that no woman has to actually do that.
No, women's choice in the matter is completely erased here. That's the other thing. She's like saying that, this woman over here who's giving, this rich, noble woman who's letting the peasants in to eat at her buffet.
Well, what gets me too, you know, like, okay, show me your tits. Show me them, Allison, right now. No,
I don't think so.
Don't feel like you're going to do that? Okay, whatever. Right? But when you look at all this cosplay is not consent bullshit that goes on at these conventions now, and you look at what is actually happening, right, is that it's generally women who feel entitled to put their hands on male cosplayers.
Yeah.
Right? It's generally female customers who feel like they have the entitlement to put their hands on male strippers, not the other way around.
Yeah.
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 So I just like to even get into this whole fucking entitlement thing, you know, that men, you know, and that this is a pervasive problem. Male entitlement is a pervasive problem in our society. And I left a comment on Sargon's video because this was one of the bits that I watched, right? And she's saying it's a pervasive problem in our society. It's an endorsed and condoned by society, right? This male entitlement that just because they have a penis, they have a right to survey and use women's bodies, right? Okay, and that is why the UK is currently looking into female-only train cars, right? Carriages on trains for women, because there were 3,400 incidents of sexual harassment, sexual assault, and other things of the like over the last year, right? Across Britain, across England, Wales, and Scotland. Okay, the Tube in London alone has 1.25 billion passenger trips per year. So the risk of actually per trip of actually being subjected to, just on the Tube in London, subjected to an incidence of sexual harassment or assault for women is 0.112 per 100,000 trips. Okay, and God knows how many other trains there are in Scotland and Wales and the rest of Britain, the rest of England, right? That we're not even counting. Okay, and for this, right, they're talking women-only train cars, right? Because male entitlement to do what they will with women's bodies just because they're men is so pervasive that it happens less than 0.112 times per 100,000 trips on the subway, right? And because of this epidemic of it, right, society is condoning this epidemic of sexual harassment and assault on the train by suggesting women-only cars, right? So essentially everything she's fucking saying is backwards. Like, I'm sorry, but male entitlement to female sexuality and to women's bodies, it was so pervasive under patriarchy that a man used to have to get down on his knee and promise a lifetime of financial support and protection just to get access to one woman's body. Okay? And at that time, right, if he raped a woman, he could be hanged. That's how entitled society has always felt men should be towards women's bodies. He had to promise a lifetime of protection and support to get access to one, and he could be hanged for raping a woman.
That's if the mob didn't tear him apart.
Like, I just, like, where is she fucking getting this from? I just, like, what universe, what backwards, upside down, fucking opposite day universe is she living in? Meanwhile, in the UK, rape is still only a crime that can be committed against a woman.
Yeah, it's like, let's get this done.
All right.
Before one or both of us has a stroke.
That a woman send him nude or sexual photos. We see it in real-world spaces whenever men catcall women on the street. We see it whenever a man gropes a woman at an event or convention.
Okay, all right. Anita, women do these things too.
I'm just weeping. I'm weeping for all those poor women who get catcalled.
You have to completely erase women's sexual agency to turn them in. That's the fucking irritating thing about this, is that you not only are you reducing men down to rape sticks, you are completely erasing women's sexual agency from view to do it. Do you know the statistics, Anita, that have been coming out now that people are actually looking at the sexual abuse of men and boys? Something like 40 to 50% of college age or high school men and boys report an act of sexual abuse or rape, mostly by women, 95% by women.
Yeah.
Okay, that is sky high. That is sky high. Now that's just them either being physically forced to have sex or or actually having been touched against their will. Both of which qualify as sexual abuse. This is not something that men just do to women. And if you're going to say that these acts of men molesting or raping women indicates a society of male entitlement to female bodies, then the reverse is also true.
Yeah.
And not only that, we have an entire structure in our society to minimize this abuse. And
when it happens to women.
Well, no, not when it happens to women.
No,
but when it happens to men.
No, okay, to minimize it. Yeah, no, I thought you meant to mitigate it, to fix it, to.
No. I meant when it happens to men,
we
minimize it. We say things like, "You got lucky," right? Now think about that. Think about what that means. Someone gets raped by a person, and if they were the right group of people, they got lucky.
Yeah, no. This is the thing. This is the thing that pisses me off about the whole victim blaming thing. You know, where you ask questions like, "Well, were you drunk?" Or, you know, like, what were the things that you did leading up to this that you could have done differently and had a different outcome, right? Which are all perfectly valid questions to ask. They, you know, when it comes to somebody who's been raped, they should maybe be asked in therapy in a safe place when the person is ready. But they are all valid questions, right? And none of them are victim blaming. None of them are saying, you know, you are the one at fault. It's essentially your brain is going to want to force you to learn a lesson from a trauma anyway. And if there's a lesson to be learned from it, like don't walk down that alley at this time of night, or don't be tuning your radio or texting while driving, because you're going to get T-boned. Right? Even if it was a drunk who ran a red light who T-boned you, you might have been able to avoid it if you hadn't been texting or tuning your radio, or if you'd been paying more attention, right? Not your fault, still a drunk driver running a red light, but could have avoided it, right? Those are all valid questions to ask, and none of them are what I would consider to be victim blaming, right? On the other hand, victim blaming requires an acknowledged victim. And men don't get the luxury of being acknowledged as victims. So you can't even say he got lucky, or he was asking for, or, you know, or, oh yeah, no, any man would trade places with you, you know, in a minute, blah, blah, blah. Yeah, no, you can't even call that victim blaming, because they're not even acknowledging that he's a victim. They're not even acknowledging that he's a fucking victim. And
that would be a step forward.
It really would. Victim blaming would be a fucking step forward for men. And boys.
Yeah. Now that's and what does it say about a society in which a woman sexually abuses a man or a boy, and people say they dismiss the entirety of his complaint with you got lucky. Now that is entitlement, female sexuality being entitled to male sexuality at any point. That is a society that's decided that women are entitled to men. That is how a society justifies that kind of bullshit.
Yeah, no, like honestly, it's every single fucking thing out of these feminist mouths when it comes to stuff like this just feels so much like projection. It's absolutely projecting female attitudes onto men, right? Despite all evidence to the contrary. And then not only is it projecting those attitudes onto men, but it's saying society condones and endorses those attitudes, right? When in reality, society is condoning and endorsing those attitudes only when they're embraced by women in regard to men.
Okay. And unfortunately we probably should end this at the hour, so we got about 20 minutes left.
Okay, let's go.
My husband has come in and indicated hunger.
Oh, yeah. Well, tell him to stop being so entitled.
So, well, he wants to make food.
Male entitlement is a mentality that serves as the foundation for the epidemics of date rape and sexual assault in our society. To be clear.
Okay, all right, stop right there. Anita, how do you explain the epidemic of raping of boys and men with male entitlement?
Well, because those women have internalized patriarchy or something. They're just taking on a masculine role.
Oh, for God's sake.
There's always a way to weasel out.
And consciously thinks that he has a right to the body of every individual woman he sees.
Ah! I'm sorry. Every individual woman. Every single individual woman. I can't leave my house. I cannot leave. I can't even go out and get my mail off the front porch without being raped, because the men around my neighborhood, they feel like they're entitled to the body of every single woman they see. And so if they ever see me, then that's rape. That means that they're going to rape me because, yeah.
What arrogance.
Ugh.
What makes you think that this is true? That men are constantly desiring. What makes you think that this is the way men work? Maybe men don't even want to look at, aren't even interested in 99% of the women.
Even if men felt a sexual desire for pretty much every woman that they see, which it would describe my boyfriend pretty well, that doesn't mean that they feel entitled to abuse however they like every single woman they see.
Yeah, let's get through this though. We'll get through this.
Rather, male entitlement operates in the background of our culture. It's a socially constructed mentality that's so deeply ingrained that it's often invisible, operating as an unquestioned base assumption. The critical thing to remember—
Yeah, because if anybody fucking questioned it, they'd find out the entire fucking notion is completely bogus.
Remember here is that men are not born with this sense of entitlement. It's a learned way of thinking that shapes the ways men relate to women and women.
Oh, who are they learning it from? Who are they fucking learning it from? Are they learning it from their moms, their single moms? Are they learning it from their daycare providers who are almost all women? Are they learning it from their elementary school teachers who are almost all women? Who are they fucking learning it from?
Well, she's saying they're learning it from games.
Oh, yeah, no. They're learning it from that amorphous thing called culture, right? Rather than the women who dominate the first freaking 10 to 13 years of their lives, where
Anita,
all of their attitudes are being formed.
Anita, the average man who rapes is psychologically distinct from the average man. He's more sociopathic. He engages in violence in other areas of his life. And also, proportionately, he's more likely to have been sexually abused by adult female. That's where your rape culture comes from. If you want to call it a rape culture. Men, I don't know about women, but men do not rape because they play a game in which there are sexy cutscenes. They rape because it's a learned behavior from being abused physically or sexually, most likely sexually and emotionally. That's not to say that every man who is abused in this way will go on to rape. But you are trivializing rape by saying that there's a connection between sexy cutscenes in a game and rape. You're trivializing it, and you are making sure that we expend resources on things that will not reduce the rate of rape and will not help anyone who is raped or prevent people from being raped. What you're doing is you are creating a structure upon which you can climb and pontificate your morality and try to inflict your morality, or your, actually not even your morality, your ability to use morality to bully others onto other people.
Yeah. All right, moving on.
Bodies.
Fantastic.
This attitude is taught through a complex socialization process impacted by a whole host of factors. Families, religions, peer groups, movies, pop music, mainstream pornography, and video games can all play a part in the construction and perpetuation of this mentality.
Is this like sugary wheat snacks are part of a balanced breakfast?
It is.
It's like, so basically anything can influence anything. Thank you, Anita. Those are deep insights.
Yeah.
So, of course, video games on their own are not responsible for single-handedly creating male entitlement.
Oh, well, thank goodness for that.
However, because games are interactive systems, they can be programmed to reinforce male entitlement in some unique ways not found in other forms of media.
Isn't that sort of making fun of male sexuality?
Yeah, kind
For
of.
instance, in Asura's Wrath, when the player stares at a maiden's breasts, she'll try to cover herself up. But if the player keeps staring, they will unlock an achievement called View of the Valley.
I know, she wouldn't be being coy or anything. Look at her. She's covering up so well. Like,
Jesus Christ. Are you covering up or are you making them more prominent, dear?
she's pretending to cover them up while at the same time kind of pushing them up, you know. Yeah, no, not buying it, Anita.
Similarly, in Lollipop Chainsaw, the player can unlock the "I swear, I did it by mistake" achievement for using the game camera to look up Juliet's skirt.
I would be more disturbed by this particular image. Not so much in its sexualization of women, but in the very, very youthful way that this character is presented, right? So essentially she's a full-grown woman, but she's dressed as, you know, sort of a
Well, it's a Lolita thing. It's not.
highly precocious 13-year-old.
But what's interesting is I'm guessing that I haven't actually played this game, but I'm guessing what she does with that chainsaw is she kills a whole bunch of men.
Probably.
And that's not problematic.
No, of course not.
For an extended period of time, despite her coy efforts to block players from doing so.
Coy.
Yeah, coy being the operative word.
Coy being like, you know, it's how you entice, you know, when essentially one of the things that Desmond Morris noticed about male-female flirtation, right? You know, when you have people flirting, a woman will, she'll sort of toy with her neck. She'll, you know, sort of scratch her chest above her neckline and stuff like that. And it's both to conceal and to draw away, right? Or to, you know,
draw attention.
Attention towards it. She's drawing attention towards it as she's putting her hand over it, because she wants the attention there, but she wants to maintain this air of not wanting the attention there.
Well, it's attention. It creates attention that heightens the you know, the sensuality of it.
But it gives the illusion that she doesn't want the attention, which makes her seem a sort of more prized or a more elevated, like she's of higher mate value.
Okay, let's finish this off though, because it's got 9 minutes.
Oh.
The Casanova achievement in the Saboteur can be unlocked for utilizing a mechanic in which players kiss 50 random women on the street without their consent as a form of camouflage to evade pursuing Nazis.
You mean like Peach kisses Mario without his consent, and April kisses the Ninja Turtle without his consent?
That's what I'm looking for.
All right, maybe a little bit more than that, but
Yeah, but the thing is that what is the alternative? Getting killed?
yeah.
I mean, in that instance, if some guy comes up and you can save his life, I mean,
Well,
would
I
you?
mean, honestly, I actually knew a woman. She was being hit on by a guy before she got married. She was being hit on by a guy at a dance, and she just chose the man who would end up being her husband out of the crowd. He happened to be sitting down, and she came up to him, she sat on his lap, she put her arms around his neck, and she said, "Please pretend that you're my boyfriend."
I guess that's acceptable.
I guess it is.
All right, let's finish this off.
Behavior that amounts to sexual harassment. Players are actively being encouraged to think of women's bodies as something they are entitled to interact with. That fact in and of itself is troubling, but it's just another example of the core problem.
Wait a minute. Entitled to interact with?
What is? Does everybody supposed to live in their own plastic bubble, friend?
Crime. It's like some crime for men to feel entitled to interact with other people, like to say good morning as they're walking by, or do you have the time?
Well, it's problematic.
Or it's
problematic.
Can you tell me where the Safeway is? Or
it's problematic.
Oh my god!
With the women as reward trope. Game systems are designed to provide feedback mechanisms that either punish or reward players for the ways they interact with virtual environments. Because video games are constructed around these formal input-output systems, they can be an especially powerful tool for reinforcing cognitive patterns by modeling and rewarding player behavior.
You know what you're doing, Anita? You know that red lipstick you're wearing? That's a sexual reward for listening to you.
I know. It's actually, Anita, your red lipstick is actually there to accentuate your lips, which are larger and fuller than men's lips on average, because your lips on your face
are a sexual signal
to mimic female genitalia.
Yeah, so what you're doing there, you're doing exactly the same thing, but you have a problem when someone puts that in a game. Is it because you actually have a moral issue with using female sexuality as a reward, or because you don't like the competition?
Ugh.
Someone else being rewarded with a woman. You, the player, are earning a woman as the reward yourself for the actions you yourself have performed. Players make their correct inputs into the game. A woman's affection or her body is the corresponding output.
Okay, all right, friend. Only her desire. Do you see Daphne making eyes?
Yeah.
Okay, all right. Because that's the thing. I mean, it's not. They are earning, not earning. They're creating. Like is okay. A woman doing a strip show for a man, is she earning his desire? No, she's just inciting it. That's all these guys are doing, is inciting the female character's desire. And there's nothing about them being entitled to their body, the women's bodies. Okay, just
what I want Anita to do next after she's done with video games? I want her to go into the romance novel community.
I doubt she'll find it problematic, though.
Yeah, except for that all of these tropes are there in the romance novel community. They're all there in romance novels.
Internalized mahoganies.
Ugh.
Players go through the process of saving the princess, and the game's algorithm dutifully rewards them with what they think they are rightfully owed for doing so. Whether it be a kiss.
Dutifully. I'm sorry, I apologize for the staccato, but dutifully? You now are saying that a fucking program has feelings?
Yeah, she looks like she's...
Oh, and look, she kissed him again.
I know, and she looks like she's just performing her duty.
No, she doesn't look like she's just performing her duty. It looks like she wants to strip off that armor post-haste.
bang the ever-loving fuck out of that
Social
guy.
science indicates that one of the primary ways we learn about the world and our relationships to each other is through a process of observation and imitation.
This is another deep insight by Anita.
Uh-huh.
Something modeled for us, especially when the modeled actions are accompanied by rewards or punishments. Video games are uniquely positioned to provide experiences that do all of these things, because in most games, the player occupies both the role of participant and the role of spectator to their own actions. In this way, the women as reward trope in video games becomes a mechanism through which male entitlement is taught and reinforced.
That doesn't make any sense. Okay, stop.
Oh.
That doesn't. Okay, could you go back? Because I sort of zoned out when she said that shit. That doesn't. What are you trying to say here?
In this way, the women as reward trope in video
No,
games
go back further.
through which male entitlement is taught for us, especially when the modeled actions are accompanied by rewards or punishments. Video games are uniquely positioned to provide experiences that do all of these things, because in most games, the player occupies both the role of participant and the role of spectator to their own
That
actions.
doesn't. Okay, all right, you need to actually clarify what the hell you're saying there, because otherwise you're saying nothing.
Ugh.
That doesn't. I don't even. What?
Well, okay, it's like a choose your own adventure novel, right? You're in the story, right? You're not just reading a story, you're in the story. I can see how that would actually be more powerful in terms of reinforcing behavior than just reading a book or watching a movie. But none of the behavior that I've seen at this point has been anything that I've seen that I could deem particularly problematic.
Well, yeah, okay. So because she's saying that men play these games, they learn that if they put on a display of male sexual desirability, that they will earn desire.
Yeah.
Okay, so Anita, I look forward to your next investigation of teaching women how to do strip pole dance. I look forward to your next investigation of lingerie stores as being problematic.
Yeah.
Because women are feeling entitled by purchasing a teddy. A woman feels entitled for a man's sexual body, because she's putting it on, just these guys are putting on these great deeds, and they're putting on the strenuous, going out there and doing the action-packed shit. They're putting on their male lingerie that to appeal to women. That obviously is entitlement. So I look forward to that. I look forward to you going into a female lingerie store and doing a review like this shit.
Yeah.
I don't know if anybody understands what the hell I'm talking about at this point.
No, I do. It's, like just the idea that doing what it takes to make another person attracted to you is
an expression of desire, or expression of entitlement. Sorry.
Yeah, an expression of entitlement to that person's desire. That's absolutely ridiculous.
Women as reward trope in video games becomes a mechanism through which male entitlement is taught and reinforced in our wider culture.
Except that by the time boys have formed and girls have formed their general attitudes in regards to things like keeping their hands to themselves, sharing, observing other people's autonomy and respecting it, acknowledging that other people have thoughts and feelings of their own, and those thoughts and feelings may not coincide with your thoughts and feelings, and all of those things, right? That's actually way, way sooner. Those things are locked down they're locked down at around the time children, the window closes to acquire language, right? So age 4 to 6. Age 4 to 6 is generally when those patterns are laid out in such a way that something like video games could really affect them. Could really actually convince a man who would not, a boy who would have grown into a man who would never rape a woman, right? Turn him into a rapist. You would have to expose him to video games, to this type of influence, right? Way earlier than what most of these games that she's talking about are being introduced to young men, right? The difference, right, and what Allison gets at, and the reason why most men who are sexually abused, in their teens, in their adolescence, right, by women. Most of those men, we do not have a 43% rapist population in the West. We have a 43% rate of boys and young men who have been inappropriately sexually touched, sexually abused, sexually assaulted, and raped by, usually 95% of the time, by women or girls that they know, that they're acquainted with, right? And yet somehow, even those cases, right, those extreme cases don't turn men into rapists. How on earth can playing fucking Grand Theft Auto 5 at age 12 or 13, after your personality is mostly formed and your idea of other people and how much you need to respect them and how much they should respect you and all of those things, right? How will that actually contribute to becoming a rapist if in 80% of cases, even being raped doesn't do it?
I think it's probably even lower than that. It's really it's a necessary but not like it's a situation for most people who are sexually abused don't go on to abuse. So
No.
You're right. This is extreme stimuli. Like this is like being sexual. These young men and boys being sexually abused by women is an extreme form of being taught the idea of someone having sexual entitlement to another person's body, and most of them don't go on to rape. And there's no way that knowing that the amount of abuse that someone has to suffer to violate that particular barrier, and amount of training. I mean, if you look at murder, the amount of training that troops have to go through to just be able to kill.
Yeah.
The amount of training that
and to kill when somebody's trying to kill you.
Yeah. Because in a lot of cases, they'll tell a rifleman, if you don't actually hit your target on the first shot, it's okay. That's typical because people do. Even at the moment where they might die, the idea of taking a life is an almost insurmountable barrier, and is rape. It's an almost insurmountable barrier.
They did interviews with men in the Civil War. And they found that a majority of them often admitted to firing over the enemy's head.
Yeah, or just reloading their muskets over and over again. And if you're going to say that rape is worse than murder, it's a bigger social taboo, or not. I don't know where you're going with that. Or it should be a bigger social taboo, or it is, than murder, then it's a bigger social barrier. Yeah. And it's going to take a lot to make a guy rape. A lot. And you're better off knowing that it takes a lot of really painful negative stimuli to turn any normal person into a rapist. And it probably can't happen after a certain age at all. Knowing that, you're better off intervening in terms of mental health with people and trying to get them the help they need to get over the trauma that causes them to create that compulsion to repeat. This nonsense is just fucking smokescreen that's going to do nothing except create you as the Lord or the lady on high, moral arbitrator of a group and a medium that you don't even care about.
Yeah, no, and on top of that, it's not just that she's setting herself up as the moral lady speaking from on high, but it vilifies male culture. It vilifies, it demonizes the things that men like, the things that men enjoy, right? And it says there's something sinister about you enjoying this. You actually enjoying what you enjoy and allowing yourself to enjoy that will turn you into a monster. It's no different from, Puritans in the 1800s saying that, if you masturbate, right, you're sinning against God and you're going to become a monster and you're going to go out and rape women.
Yes. It's yeah. But let's finish this off because we got.
Cognitively,
I'm
it's
so
strikingly
sick of
similar
this,
to the
this bitch.
expectation that if a man buys a woman a few drinks, then he's owed sex. The money and time for the
Who has that expectation?
Rapists do.
That's it.
Yeah.
And rapists usually have been severely abused. That's why they rape.
The output. When men's entitlement-based expectations are not fulfilled, they
Oh, I hate this. Stop this. Oh, you just presume. You're just presuming here. She has not established anything. She's just like, oh yeah, we'll just given. It's just a given. Even though everything she's shown, every piece of evidence she's shown in this entire thing has indicated that men don't feel entitled to women's bodies. Every single thing you've shown, Anita, has shown men going through the process of generating desire, of wanting to have women desire them. That's not entitlement. That's just,
yeah, but it's not allowed because, I mean, like, who desires men? Ew.
none of her evidence actually supports her conclusion. None of it.
No.
Like bald face doesn't support her conclusion. She's showing us purple cows and telling us they're black and white. I'm sorry, Anita. They're purple. They're fucking purple.
They're not even cows.
Yeah.
They're rose bushes.
Or they're eggplants. Fucking eggplants.
Towards women. This is clearly illustrated in the catcalling scenarios I mentioned earlier. Street harassers feel entitled to women's time and women's attention.
We got to get through this, Karen. Just keep going.
In response they feel they're owed, they can become increasingly angry, following their targets, insulting them, groping them, or otherwise aggressively demanding to be acknowledged.
Yeah, that's an outlier, Anita. Those guys are marginalized, most likely marginalized. They're most likely have experienced abuse themselves, or they're just in a really pissy fucking mood that day. These are outliers. This does not make a culture. Just like theft doesn't mean we're communist. The existence of thieves doesn't mean that we live in a communist state.
God. I just, like, honestly, that catcalling video where, like, two guys actually sort of followed her or walked next to her and kind of got a little bit snarky about her not saying anything, right? Everybody else was just like, oh, good morning. Hey, mommy, you look good, whatever, right? And she just kept walking and they left her alone. She acted like she was not interested, and so they left her alone, right? And that's out of the ones that they, out of the men that she crossed paths with that they actually felt were worthy of inclusion in the video, right? How many other men did she walk past in 10 hours walking in New York City who did not even say anything to her, who didn't look at her, didn't say anything to her? If they looked, they kept their feelings to themselves, right? I'm sorry, but honestly, this is not a pervasive thing, right? And on top of that, if you're going to be catcalled, right, your best response is to give a sassy freaking comeback and keep walking.
Yeah. Or, I don't know.
In the gaming community, we see this entitlement-fueled outrage bubble to the surface when some gamers encounter indications that games aren't made exclusively with their fantasies in mind.
They're the target audience, friend.
I know, but it's a crime that there's any kind of form of entertainment that's geared specifically.
Okay, let me just entertain a scenario with you, Karen. Could you imagine if men's rights activists, let's call the men's rights activist Andy.
Okay.
Andy, what's a good takeoff? Marquesian. Andy Marquesian decides to go into or start a video series on romance novels. And she starts to say all of the things that Anita is saying about romance novels, about how it's entitlement to male bodies or male paychecks or whatever else, or male interest or male attention.
Yeah.
Can you imagine the backlash that would come from the romance community.
That's why I want her to go into the romance community, because
yeah.
they will fucking eat her alive. I was a member of that community for years, and they would fucking eat her alive.
Those little ladies are hardcore, bitch.
She would be begging for fucking threats of Mark Lapine style massacres after coming out the other end of the romance community if she pulled this bullshit there.
Yeah,
and said that women are not entitled to a form of entertainment that caters specifically to what they like.
Yes.
Straight male players have occurred when role-playing games have forced them to interact with gay male characters, or presented them with lesbian characters who were not available as romance options to male avatars. Angry backlash from straight male players also materializes when Western releases of
Did she give any like real examples of that whole thing?
Oh no, it's just I'm surprised she didn't drop Gamergate as a name.
I'm just like she provides all of this footage and stuff, right? But she didn't provide any evidence. I wonder if it's in the low bar. I'll have to look.
Yes.
Place women in slightly less revealing outfits, or increase the age of young sexualized female characters to 18. In the same vein, when presented with critical analysis of the poor representations of women in many popular games, this intense male entitlement manifests in aggression, abuse, and threat.
No, Anita. They're not objecting to criticism of poor female representation in games because you know what? There are plenty of other people who say stuff about female characters in games and they complain that, oh, she has no fucking personality, or oh, she, her freaking whatever, and oh, this isn't believable, and oh, yeah, blah, 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 right? There's plenty of that. They just don't like you. They just don't like you and what you're saying and what you think is a poor representation of females in games, which is actually pretty much any representation of a female in games.
Yeah. And also, they probably don't like the fact that you're rolling out a bunch of non-eggplants and then calling them eggplants. Or purple cows and calling them eggplants.
As demonstrated in this episode, the women as reward trope is set up to fulfill a very specific male entitlement-oriented fantasy. In many cases, game creators...
It's a male fantasy. It's not a male entitlement-oriented fantasy.
May not even realize...
But wait, just a sec.
If it was a male entitlement-oriented fantasy, it would just involve the guy opening the first screen. The woman would be lying there with her legs wide open, and he'd jump on her.
Like a spider on a fly.
This is not a male entitlement fantasy. This is a male challenge. This is a male challenge fantasy. It is a male earning your way fantasy. It is a male proving your worth fantasy.
It's a male.
That's what it is.
It's a male feeling desirable fantasy, feeling like you can encourage the desirability, or feeling like you can create desire in another human being. That's the fantasy.
This mentality. But when games use a woman's affection, her body, or her sexuality as a carrot on a stick, they're actively encouraging men to think of women as objects, prizes.
No. Again, don't trot out purple cows and call them eggplants. Yeah. That is not what you have shown. What you have shown is men essentially donning male lingerie to create desire in female non-playable characters. That's what you've shown. And if you're going to complain about that,
and
your next series of shows should be about how women wearing lingerie means they're entitled to male desire. Okay?
You know what? And you know what? There's more truth to that. You go to the fucking slut walk and you see these massively overweight women dressed in like next to all together, right? And they're talking about how, my short skirt this, my short skirt that, but you men shouldn't look at me that way because it's almost like, and then on top of that, the fat shaming, the anti-fat shaming.
I know what you're getting at. I know.
I can this stuff, right?
I know it.
Women feel like they should be able to do whatever the fuck they want right? Grow to 400 pounds, off with the makeup, on with the fucking fuzzy slippers, right? And still be able to have male attention, still be entitled to male affection and desire.
Or there's something wrong with the men. Their look is.
Yes.
They're fat shaming. And here's the other thing. When they do that, when these women walk around with something saying, this, whatever I'm wearing does not entitle you to my body, they're going around and they're sexualizing the men around them. They're essentially telling the men that they actually have these feelings. They're presuming it and assuming it of them. That is so disgustingly creepy.
Yeah.
It's like... You have no right to presume the men around you have any sexual interest in you. You're sexualizing them.
Yeah.
But I mean, you don't you don't have a right. Everybody has a right to be as obnoxious as they humanly can, but you don't have a right to be appreciated for it.
Yeah.
Be obnoxious. You buy the ticket. You take the ride.
And it's not just men who are affected. This ideology of male entitlement seeps into the wider social consciousness of everyone, regardless of gender, a byproduct of which can negatively impact the ways women relate to one another and the ways we think about our relationships.
That's us, Karen.
I know. I was just reading an article just like before we went on about revenge porn and how the first woman in the UK has been convicted on this crime that became a crime in April. And she was a lesbian and released pictures of her girlfriend when they were having a fight. And the feminist author of the article went on to say that a lot of revenge porn is done by women, and it's often done against other women, and it's often not just like lesbian lovers spats or breakups. It's often to do with she found pictures of an ex-girlfriend on her boyfriend's phone, so she's going to release those pictures on social media like Facebook or Twitter, right? And that this is a much less serious crime than a man who releases a picture of his ex-girlfriend on a revenge porn website because, I don't know, a million strangers knowing what your O-face looks like is much worse than your grandmother seeing what your O-face looks like.
Yeah. It's just vagina, right? You cannot actually see women as actions as having as significant consequences as men's.
And she went on to say that this is not a behavior women would engage in if they did not have the example of men doing this, that they're copying. Are you fucking kidding me? All that's saying is women can't actually have an original idea in their heads. Everything that they do, they're copying from men. Oh, men post revenge porn. Oh, I could post revenge porn. It would never occur to a woman to get back at another woman or a man by posting their nudes online. No, it would never occur to them if they didn't have men there to provide the example that they could copy. Give me a fucking break. This is what this bullshit is. Oh, it teaches women to see themselves in a certain way because of all this male entitlement. Yeah, bullshit. Ugh.
Our own sexuality. The good news is that because male entitlement is a learned attitude, it can, through education and conscious effort, be unlearned.
Oh, yes, and we should all listen to you.
And games
yes, you who says that purple cows are eggplants.
Oh, yeah. No, whatever you say, Anita, listen and believe. We believe you, and we're going to try and internalize your values. And maybe once we're done, nobody will ever have sex with anybody ever again.
Okay, here's my thing. You know, me and Karen, I guarantee neither of us are wearing makeup. Maybe Karen is, I don't know.
No.
I don't bleach my teeth like Anita does. I don't pick my eyebrow thingies. Are they eyebrows still?
They're sort of eyebrows.
I don't wear lipstick. I don't do the hoop earrings.
You don't put color in your hair.
No. Sometimes I don't even brush it.
I don't even dye my gray hair.
Yeah.
I have
it's
quite
like
a bit of it.
don't sexualize ourselves. In fact, I think right now we're just disembodied voices in the corner of the screen or some shit. I don't know.
I'm wearing my pajama pants. And they're not sexy pajama pants either.
Yeah. So it's like, here you are, sexualizing yourself, buying into this whole idea, and you're telling us that you are the one who is going to challenge the very thing that you are buying into. And I'm not saying this, like, people are going to be like, oh, you're going after Anita's looks. This is the thing.
They're
challenge
her
it in yourself.
They're not her looks, they're her choices.
Your choices. Your choices here. You don't challenge them in yourself. You simply want to be able to use the power of sexuality to your own ends. You don't actually have a problem with the fact that women are gatekeepers. You don't have the problem with the fact that they're used as carrots on sticks. You just want to control how they're used. And at the same time, you want to say it's immoral. You want to say it's immoral to use a woman as a carrot, and yet you are using yourself as a carrot.
I don't know. That plaid shirt's pretty lame sauce.
Well, it's.
I mean, like, honestly, when I actually
let's not go there.
When I have to go up on stage, when I have to go, I actually try to, look slick in some way. I don't know where the plaid comes from with her. I don't. It's a very strange thing.
Yes. Okay, but I think we're almost to the end here. Almost 35 seconds. Let's do this thing.
All right, let's get it done.
Interactivity makes them a powerful tool for reinforcing male entitlement. So too could that interactivity be harnessed to disrupt antiquated gender dynamics and engage us with game mechanics that explore more equitable interactions between people of all genders.
As depicting men engaging in activities that people find desirable, that when men engage in these activities, people find them desirable. This is what's happening. So, like, when women go and do stripper dances, people find them desirable. When women wear lingerie, people find them desirable. When women pluck their eyebrows and wear lipstick, they find them desirable. These are the activities that men are engaging in. They're engaging in activities that people generally associate with men being desirable, being desire towards men, because they're engaging in these activities. Because men they engage in activities and make them desirable to others, and then they're demonstrated that they have indeed created this desire in female non-playable characters. There's entitlement.
I don't even have the energy anymore. I don't have the energy anymore. Like I said, she is upside down and backwards. She's living in the land of opposite. It's opposite day every day for Anita Sarkeesian.
It's such an innocuous thing. And we got an echo.
I just got an echo. Oh, maybe I'll put on my headphones. But yeah, no, it's just. Oh, there we go.
Is that better?
I think so.
Okay.
No, I'm still an echo.
Oh, for fuck's sake.
No, I think it's gone now. All right, so it's just like, this is so innocuous. You're essentially showing men putting on lingerie and strutting out in front of women, and women saying, hey, baby. And then you're like, oh my God, she's a reward. It's like, how could you have such a hatred of the way human beings relate? And just, why? Why do people listen to this person? She's like some sort of nihilist.
I don't
joy out of the world.
I don't even know what the issue is with her, other than she read a lot of bell hooks. So that might be it. I mean, she's the one essentially who said in that panel discussion she did in Australia that all of there is no such thing as choice feminism or choice for women. All of women's choices are laid out from a pre-selected set of options provided by the patriarchy, and that's why she chose to be a feminist. she chose to be a feminist. So either she's choosing from a pre-selected set of options that were provided by patriarchy, or she's completely full of bullshit. Either being a feminist is part of patriarchy, or the fact that women don't have choices is bullshit. Oh, I can't hear you.
Here's the problem that I have with that. When I ask feminists if they actually ever question if feminist beliefs hurt women, invariably they can't answer that question. And usually it comes down to some thing like, oh, because my beliefs are quote unquote feminist, they obviously don't hurt women, so I don't have to ask those questions. I don't have to ask if I'm actually perpetuating what they call patriarchy or societal norms through our beliefs. And I was thinking, that is where if I wanted to have continued toxic beliefs about men and women, I would hide it in the place where no one questions. That's where I would put it.
Yeah.
And I'm not liking the late on. So that's where it would go. And then no one would question it. I could just stand on high and pontificate about how everybody else has to be moral except me, and everybody else has to question themselves except me. Somehow I'm exempt because I have the magic abracadabra word, feminist.
Well, Anita was the one who escaped the choices, the limited choices of patriarchy. She managed to launch herself out of that. She's so spectacular that when she made the choice to become a feminist, that was not one of the choices that she claims are the only choices available to women that are all supported by patriarchy. So, I said in my last video on the Gregory Allen Elliott thing that these feminists can say shit like this, and all of the media interviewers, the journalists and the pundits and the commentators and all, they just nod and smile like the very sagest of bobbleheads, right? And they never ask any questions about exactly what the fuck do you mean? How did you become a feminist if feminism is not on patriarchy's menu, right? If it's not something supported by patriarchy, how did you choose to become a feminist?
Exactly.
So
it's just a snake eating itself.
Oh, it's so incoherent.
Yes,
but
indeed.
Anyhow, it's getting to be 2:30, and I have to fucking snake my goddamn laundry drain again.
Yes, I know.
If I want to use my kitchen and my laundry room.
So yeah, let's end this thing. Thank you for everybody who tuned in. We will probably be doing this again. If you definitely want to see it again, consider becoming our patron. www.patreon.com/honeybadgerradio. Yeah. And we'll put on more of these if you like them. You seem to.
All right.
And we will also be doing a show tonight as well at the usual time, 7 p.m. Eastern. And yeah.
And I would suggest anybody who hasn't watched Dr. Rantzerker and Allison's takedown of that
the purple people
purple dressed bitch at the Oxford Union debate. I would suggest that you go and watch that, because that was highly entertaining and very informative at the same time. And I love to see Allison and the doctor tag teaming that insufferable, supercilious, raging freaking cunt in a purple dress.
Contest.
Oh, she was definitely definite see you next Tuesday there. So yeah.
Okay. Well, see you guys soon. And thanks for joining us.
Bye.